Hey guys, welcome to Fanfic Fanatics. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku had Pokemon powers and had Harem? Part 1. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are interested in MHA fanfictions. This story is Izuku El Rey Pokemon by Angel Gonzalez 753. Now without wasting any more time, let's dive in. Our story begins in a dark, messy room where a green-haired man was lying in bed, head down and with a face full of sadness because his world had ended. Flashback 4 hours earlier, our young green-haired boy was walking peacefully down a street when he passed through a mini-tunnel where a villain appeared to take over his body, if it hadn't been for the appearance of a person the boy greatly admired, since it was none other than All Might, the #1 superhero of all. All Might. Don't be afraid, citizen, nothing bad will happen because I am here. He said it with his typical smile while our protagonist watched as his hero saved him from the clutches of that villain. From here on, the same thing would happen as in the original story until All Might tells him that without powers he will not be able to become a superhero. Finn flashback after hearing that, Midoriya's world collapsed before his eyes. His idol, the person he admired most, destroyed his dreams with a few words. Present Izuku watched a TV screen where All Might defeated the same villain who had attacked him hours before, but now the victim was one of his schoolmates, none other than Katsumi Bakugo, the girl who, along with her stupid sister, made Izuku's life impossible, calling him Deku, and hurting him with their peculiarities. Izuku just watched as everyone cheered All Might for his rescue work while he said his typical phrase that now generated more annoyance than respect in Izuku. But he came out of his expressionless state in front of the television when he saw his mother come through the door and see the mess in her son's room. Inko. Izuku, everything is fine, he said it with a clear tone of concern when he saw the cold and empty look his son had. Izuku. It's nothing, Mom, it's just that today I learned something very important, the green-haired man answered coldly, provoking a scared look from his mother. Inko. And what was Izuku? The woman asked fearfully at her son's actions. Izuku. You can't rely on your heroes because when you need them most, they will turn their backs on you. He said it with a broken voice while tears came out of his face and approached a wall where he had a giant poster of All Might which he tore from its place holding the heavy ones before the incredulous look of his mother who couldn't believe what she saw but couldn't formulate any words since she was hugged tightly by the green-haired boy while he cried and let his heart out in the arms of his mother who was only trying to calm her little one. Several minutes passed until Izuku fell deeply asleep but with that sad expression on his face. The next morning Izuku woke up dejected by what had happened but he still got ready to go to school. When he arrived at the dining room, his mother was waiting for him with his breakfast and a smile hoping to cheer up the green-haired boy a little. He only showed a forced smile and ate his breakfast in silence and then left for school without knowing that fate had a surprise for him that would change his life. Izuku was walking down the street when he remembered something that would make him even sadder than he already was. Flashback. Izuku, promise me that you will never give up on your dream of being a hero. Finn flashback. Izuku. Forgive me, you and Mom, I failed you. He couldn't finish because a strange bottle from the sky hit his head, causing a strong pain and burning sensation that made him start screaming. Ah, help, ah please, he could not continue because of the unbearable pain and he fainted. A person who was passing by quickly approached and called an ambulance. Once at the hospital, they found an ID card and used it to call the school to get the number of a relative, who was their mother. Inko. Yes, who's speaking? Nurse. Excuse me, I'm speaking with Inko Midoriya. Inko. If she talks, what happens? Nurse. Miss Midoriya, we need you to come to the hospital urgently because your son, young Izuku Midoriya, has had an accident. Inko. What Izuku, what happened to you? Are you fine? What happened to you? The green-haired woman responded, upset about her son. Nurse. I ask you to stay calm and come to the hospital. The doctor will explain everything to you. Inko. Yes, I'm going there, she said more calmly as she left her house in the direction of the hospital. What will happen now? What was the bottle that hit Izuku in the head? What was inside? And how will our protagonist's life change? Well, we'll see that in the next chapter. Goodbye. We met at the city hospital where a young green-haired man was lying in bed after being hit by an object that fell from the sky, while at the reception desk a green-haired man came running to check on his little one. Inko. Excuse me, I'm Mrs. Midoriya. They told me that my son had an accident. He said it in a nervous and worried tone of voice. Receptionist. Midoriya, if you allow Meihei said this while reviewing some papers. Here is Izuku Midoriya. Your son is in room 203 on the 3rd floor. He was brought here after being hit in the head by an object that apparently fell from the sky, hitting him squarely in the head. But he's fine now, so you can go see him right away. I'll send the doctor to see if he'll discharge him. Inko. Thank you very much. Responded more calmly after learning that his son was fine and then retreated to the room where our protagonist was. Meanwhile, a green-haired man began to slowly open his eyes. Izuku. Where am I? The green-haired man asked himself as he looked at the place where he was, while little by little the memories began to come to him. It's true, I was walking to school when something hit my head. After that I remember an unbearable pain and everything went black. The boy thought, but he came out of his thoughts when he saw his mother running towards him. Inko. Izuku, I'm glad you're okay. You don't know how worried I was when they told me you had an accident. The woman said, crying while hugging her son. Izuku. He looked at his mother for a moment and said, your problems would have been solved. He responded in a cold and sharp manner, which confused Inko. Inko. What are you talking about, Izuku? The green-haired woman responded, surprised by what her son had said. Izuku. What I'm talking about is that if the accident had been more serious, maybe I wouldn't be alive anymore and all your problems would be solved. He couldn't continue as he was silenced by a strong slap from his mother, who only cried upon hearing her son say those things. Inko. How can you say that? You are my greatest treasure. If I lost you, my world would end. She said it while her crying increased, and Izuku looked at this with sadness because his mother loved him with all her being. Izuku. What is the value of someone like me who has only brought you problems because of me? My father abandoned you. My sister no longer sees you as a mother, and the others laugh at you for having a useless person without powers. He said it full of anger and tears, releasing all his fury as he remembered the pain and sadness that he and his mother had gone through, releasing everything in a single punch against the wall without expecting what would happen next. Image that Izuku as Charizard and Blastoise as the hospital wall. At the moment of the impact, all that could be seen was how the wall of the building was destroyed in pieces, leaving Izuku and Inko in shock. Izuku. How did I just do that? He said it, still in shock from what had happened. Inko. I don't know. She responded incredulously, but both came out of shock after hearing the doctor speak. Doctor. Well, Mrs. Midoriya, they informed me that you have arrived and I came to discharge your son so that you can take him. But what happened here? He said incredulously when he saw the wall in pieces. Inko. Doctor. How is it possible that my son doesn't have powers? The green-haired woman spoke in a tone of total shock. Doctor. I don't know, the tests indicate what you say, he doesn't have powers, but how did he do it, or better yet, how did you do it? The doc looks at him with a strange face. Izuku. To be honest, all I did was concentrate my anger and let it out. The green-haired man responded calmly. Doctor. Well, maybe you awakened your power after the accident, but it's curious that a quirk awakens in such a curious and late way. Izuku. That means that the boy responded, incredulous at the news. Inko. Yes, son, you can become a hero. He responded happily because his son's biggest dream could come true. Izuku. Yes, I become a hero, he said it bursting with happiness. Inko. But doctor, what will happen with the wall? How much will the damage cost to repair? She spoke worried about the damage done by her son. Doctor. Don't worry, today you have insurance in case a patient loses control of his powers. He responded calmly, causing a look of relief to appear on the green-haired girl's face. Well, I came here to register young Midoriya so he can go home now, but be careful with the use of your quirk. Izuku. Of course I will have it, thank you doctor. After that and a little paperwork, the Izuku family happily returned home while Izuku thought about fulfilling his biggest dream of becoming a hero. And well, that's it for today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Comments, suggestions, etc. are welcome. Until next time, goodbye. 3 months had passed since the discovery of Izuku's powers. His mother was very happy because her son could realize his dream. During that time, the bullying Izuku received at the hands of Katsumi and his sister did not diminish one bit. For a simple reason, Izuku decided not to say anything about his powers. Only he and his mother would know. But one day, Izuku decided to shut the mouths of his two bullies. Flashback: it was the last day of school. Finally Izuku would dedicate himself fully to his training and stop seeing those two faces, even if only for a while, since he knew that they also had intentions of entering UA, the best academy for superheroes. But Izuku saw his peace end when he saw his two bullies approach his desk while the rest of the class watched the scene in amusement. Izumi. Ooh, but you should be happy, loser. The year will soon be over and we won't see your stupid face. The green-haired woman spoke with arrogance in her voice. Katsumi. You're right, while we don't become professional heroes, you can look for a job as a street sweeper or office worker, ha ha ha. The ash-haired girl laughed arrogantly, just like the rest of the class. Izuku. He gave a small sigh to be able to speak. Maybe you're right, Katsumi, but I find that more convenient than turning into a cowardly hero like you who was almost in tears because of the attack of a simple villain, and even worse, who appeared on television. The green-haired man responded calmly. After what the green-haired boy said, the room fell into complete silence, which was broken by the sound of the bell indicating the end of classes and, consequently, the end of the year. Flashback: present, we can see a green-haired boy on the seashore who was without a single bit of trash because he had cleaned it with his powers. Izuku. Today is the big day. Today begins my journey to become the greatest hero of all. He said it while raising his fist. Academia UA: we can see our protagonist walking towards the entrance of the academy to take the written exam. Everything seemed to be going perfectly well, except that when he took the first step he stumbled, but he felt strange since he hadn't hit the ground. When he opened his eyes, he could see what was floating, but he heard a voice that caught his attention. Are you okay? It wouldn't be good to start the exam with a fall, don't you think? A chestnut woman spoke, looking at our protagonist, arranging it correctly. Well, we have to hurry, it wouldn't be good to be late either, he said, hurrying his step. After that peculiar encounter, our protagonist decided to go straight to the classroom where he would have to take the exam. After the written exam, all the young people, including the green-haired one, would go into an auditorium where a man would appear with a type of microphone around his neck, extremely long yellow hair, and glasses. Hero. How is everyone? I would speak loudly without receiving any response. There are some but bitter ones, thought the hero. Hero. Well, I'm the professional hero present, Mike, and I'm here to inform you that you will compensate points with the practical part, the hero replied while everyone paid attention. Present Mike. Well, in this part you learned about destroying robots that have a specific amount of points. In total there are 4. The first one is 1 point and measures 60 centimeters. The one with 2 points measures 1.20 meters. The one with 5 points measures 2 meters, and finally the one with 10 points and a height of 3 meters. Questions, he said while showing an image of the area where the practical part would take place. At that a tall young man raised his hand. Lita. Yes. My name is Tenya Iida and my question is that it says there are 4 types of robots, but in the image there are 5 types of robots and that would be a mistake on the part of this institution, he responded. The boy with glasses causing a drop of sweat to appear on the hero. Present Mike. Well, that is a robot without a point or 0 points, plus it measures about 8 stories tall and is practically indestructible. The recommended thing is to flee as fast as you can. If there is no further doubt, let's begin. The young people were placed in different sections, but unfortunately for Izuku, he was in the same section as Katsumi and Izumi, but before they could speak to him, the doors opened. Present Mike. What are the heroes waiting for? They never have a signal to start, and if not, he will be left with all the fun. He pointed out a green-haired boy who was running and was 12 meters ahead of them so that the others would make up for it by running. The test was a brutal explosion that could be seen everywhere, but many were surprised to see the green-haired man destroying robots in his path while shouting different types of attacks. Izuku. Flamethrower. From his mouth a powerful wave of fire appeared, knocking down 18 2-meters robots. Izuku. Water cannon. Surprised more to those present since from now on a powerful torrent of water was present from its mouth, finishing off 15 robots of 1.20 meters. Izuku. Let's end this thundershock, he said with all his strength as a blanket of electricity covered him and 23 meters robots were shot from it. Izuku. I think that will be enough, sighed calm as he turned around and began to leave the area, but a voice made him turn around and he saw the girl who avoided her tripping under some rubble while a huge robot was dangerously approaching her. Uraraka. Help please, he said this as he tried to free himself from the pile of rubble. While the others fled in terror from the robot, including Izuku's bullying, he looked at the scene and couldn't take it anymore. The heroic spirit controlled his body and quickly approached, sending the debris flying with a punch. Izuku. I'll distract him. He said it with a smile that made her blush as he walked away. Izuku. While everyone was far away looking at what the green-haired boy had done and thought that what he was doing was suicide, they were surprised to see how Izuku's hair began to shine and he turned around facing the 0 point and Izuku screamed very loudly. Sunray, he said so that a powerful beam of energy was subsequently shot towards the robot, disintegrating it from the torso up, leaving everyone present in shock. Meanwhile, in an area a little far from what happened on top of a building, a boy watched the scene. Wow Izuku, you really surprised me. You're finally going to become a hero like you promised. I can't wait to see you again and test your skills. Meanwhile in a cabin where several people were gathered. Something's wrong All Might. All Might. It's not just that I know that boy but he didn't have a quirk. Midnight. That's impossible. All Might. I'm not mistaken, his name was Izuku. Cements. That's correct, and your application says your quirk is elemental, capable of using all elements. Nezu. It seems that in the end he did have a quirk and a very peculiar one. All Might. You're right, and he could even be my replacement. Now what will happen? Izuku will enter the UA who was the unknown boy that All Might was referring to with a replacement. Well, this and much more in the next chapter. Goodbye. Izuku was on his way home after taking the exam. Izuku. I hope I've done enough to get into UA. He said this while looking at the sky. Thus passed the days where Izuku dedicated himself to training to improve his skills and create new attacks. Inko. Izuku, a letter from UA just arrived, she said, excited to see the exam results. Needless to say, we began to hear an animal approaching dangerously. Izuku. And what does Mom say? Said the green-haired boy with agitation in his voice. Inko. I don't know, son. I didn't want to open it. That's up to you. He spoke affectionately, giving her the envelope. Izuku. Okay, he said, taking the envelope. And what is this? Seeing a strange device pressing a button. After pressing the button, an image of All Might appeared, causing Izuku to grimace in disgust. Izuku Inko. Ease unhologramma. H. All Might. Greetings Midoriya. Izuku. I am present here today to inform you that you have been accepted into UA, said the hologram, leaving the Midoriyas shocked, since in the theoretical exam you had a score of 88 points and in the practical exam you had a total of 320. In addition, 60 more points are awarded for your heroism in rescuing a person who was in danger, giving you a total of 468 points. Note the maximum to enter the school will be 400, but you have to pass with a minimum of 70 in the theoretical exam, he said to finish speaking and disappear. A silence formed in the house as mother and son said nothing until a loud scream sounded in the house. Izuku. Yes, I will become a hero, he said, jumping with excitement and then being hugged by his mother. Inko. I knew you would make it. You don't know how proud I feel. I said it without asking to avoid crying. Izuku. I know, Mom, and I thank you for all your effort and dedication in raising me and never giving up on me. Thank you, Mom, he said, returning the hug, making his mother cry more with his words. The days passed and Izuku trained harder and with great enthusiasm, and finally the day arrived and Izuku quickly left his house, arriving at UA and headed to his classroom, taking a while but finally finding the classroom of Group 1A, being surprised to see a fairly high door, quickly thinking it was for those with the mutation quirk, opening another door his size, but he couldn't move forward when he heard some voices. Ale, put your feet up off the desk, that's not right, said a young man with glasses who was looking at a little girl with ash. If I were you, I wouldn't bother her. She doesn't hesitate to hurt those who bother her. A green-haired woman spoke to the man with glasses, causing Izuku to make a face of disgust. She is Izumi. Just think that she is wearing the UA uniform. Have you heard extra? So get lost, replied the Muslim Ash with a sour look. Izuku tried to go unnoticed, heading to his place, and almost succeeded if it weren't for a brunette who quickly approached, capturing everyone's attention, turning to look at the two, causing disgust in two girls known to the Green Eye. Uraraka. Hey, thanks for saving me the other day, she said with a wide smile. Izuku. EHHH couldn't articulate a word, since almost the entire room except for the two girls, a boy with a crow's head, another girl with different hair tones, and a black-haired boy who was concentrating on his cell phone. Lida. Hey, you're the boy who destroyed the giant robot, right? Receiving a nod from Izuku, I introduce myself, I'm Tenga Lida Quirk Engine. Uraraka. Hey, I wanted to introduce myself first, but well, I'm Ochako Uraraka Quirk Gravity, the brunette responded smiling. Aoyama. Are you really the one who made that thing stand up to the national team? Wow, I'll give you the pleasure of meeting me. I'm Yuga Aoyama. Laser Naval Quirk, the little princess of the room, spoke, making one of her typical poses, causing a drop of sweat to form on those present. Ojiro. Don't pay too much attention to him, it's a pleasure. I'm Mashiro Ojiro Quirk Tail, answered a boy who was the oldest in attention was a strange tail behind him. Mina. Hey, what you did in the exam was surprising. I'm Mina Ashido Acid Quirk. A girl with horns and a pink skin tone was introduced. Suyu. She's right, Giru, the exam was spectacular. I'm Suyu Asui Quirk Frog from a green-haired girl with quite big eyes spoke. Kaminari. I can't believe I'm not the only one in the class with the ability to move electricity. Oh, by the way, I'm Denki Kaminari. Electrification Quirk, said a blonde boy, greeting Izuku. Kirishima. I can't believe we have the guy who is the most Lucio in the exam. I am Eiichiro Kirishima Quirk, hardening, now a redhead with spiky hair and very lively spoke. Hagakuri. Name me Green Boy. I am Toru Hagakuri, Invisibility Quirk, and I would like to ask you, do you have multiple quirks? A voice spoke in the air since the person speaking was not seen, confusing Izuku until he saw a uniform move on its own. Izuku. No, I don't have multiple quirks, it's just one, said our protagonist, leaving his companions more than surprised. Shoji. You must be lying, it was seen in the test how you use different types of attacks. Ah, I forgot. I'm Mazo Shoji Dupli Arms Quirk, spoke a rather tall boy with what looked like multiple limbs. Izuku. Well, Shoji, my quirk allows me to use different elements to attack, said the quirkless man simply, leaving his companions more than surprised. Zero. So you can simply use the 4 natural elements to attack, a black-haired man responded in shock, receiving a nod from Deku. Well, I'm Honta Zero Quirk Tape. Juru. Wow. I didn't think someone with that power existed. There was a girl with emo touches and some kind of cables coming out of her ears. Well, I'm Kyoja Juru Quirk Earphone Jack. Minera. I am Minoru Minera Quirk Popoff, and I think your power is not that great, said a dwarf with a strange grape-shaped hairstyle. Momo. Shut up, don't pay attention to him. I'm Momo Yayurozu Creation Quirk, and I think your performance in the exam was amazing, said a black-haired woman with great attributes. Izuku. Thank you. Well, I'm Izuku Midoriya and it's a pleasure to meet you, the green-haired man spoke with a smile. Before anyone else could say anything, a voice caught everyone's attention, even those who weren't with Izuku. If you came here to be friends, you better leave. A hero doesn't have time to be friends, spoke a lump with a face, scaring everyone present to later see how it is. He stood up and a zipper was lowered, opening the lump and revealing a black-haired man with the face of a drug addict. Well, I am your homeroom teacher, I am Shota Aizawa. The man introduced himself, but before anyone could say anything he took out a training uniform. Put this on and let's go outside, he said without further ado, leaving the classroom. Almost everyone was already outside, only a few were missing, among them Izuku. But when he was heading outside, someone stopped him. Oh, but who do we have here? Deku, said a black-haired boy with glasses staring at Izuku. Izuku. Excuse me, but you know how those stupid things call me. The green-haired man responded with annoyance. Oh, Izuku, you're so mean, how can you not remember me? We were best friends, how mean. The black-haired man said with a fake sad face. Izuku. Wait a second. Jack is you? It's not a joke, he said, surprised with green eyes. Jack. Of course it's me, Jack Bezarius Quirk Energy, and I see that you lied to me. What a bad friend you are, replied the black-haired man, now identified as Jack. Izuku. About that, it's a funny story, so why don't we go to my house and I'll tell you what happened, the protagonist responded with a smile after meeting his childhood best friend. Jack. Okay, well, let's go. Otherwise the teacher will get upset. Asia said it calmly as she walked towards the exit, followed by Izuku. Aizawa. Well, since we're all here, we'll do the physical tests. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. They've done them in high school, Heiuichi said, looking and throwing a ball he had in his hands. How much was your high school score without quirk? Izuku. It was 10.60 mth. Green-haired man responded naturally. Aizawa. Okay, now do it with your quirk. Izuku. Whatever, but with my quirk, the boy asked, re-uploading a settlement from the teacher. Izuku. Well, who am I going to? He said, throwing the ball up like this and then turning, and when the ball was falling, he connected a powerful kick on it, creating a small shock wave. After that, they just watched as the ball shot out, leaving some of their teammates and their friend more than surprised with a big smile. Aizawa. He looked at a device that would mark the distance of the ball, and he looked astonished at the result. Everyone except Izuku Jack Todoroki. How much was it? Aizawa. Furin 3.25 kmh. He said, still in shock. Everyone except Izuku Jack Todoroki. Qui. And that's it for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Suggestions, comments, etc. are welcome. I'm also sorry for any errors, schemes, and I've been a bit busy. Without further ado, I say goodbye. Location: UA Physical Testing Range. The entire group of 1A was stunned since Izuku had just marked an incredible distance of 3.25. While everyone was coming out of shock, the pink-haired girl decided to speak. Mina. This will be fun again. Store fascinated while a few supported her claim and 2 others were furious. Aizawa. They think it will be fun, he said, showing a disturbing face with a strange smile. Well, let me tell you that whoever comes last will be expelled from school, he said, it still showing that face, leaving the students scared. Aizawa. Let's continue. Who wants to try? Said, taking out another ball. Jack. I'll do it. The protagonist's friend said it calmly. Okay Izuku, I'm not going to back down. Here I go, he said, turning on his own axis and throwing the ball, surprising everyone because when the ball was thrown it left a trail of light. Aizawa and the others were left with a look of disbelief that they had 2 monsters in their classroom, and just by asking Lita decided to ask how far the distance was. Aizawa. His distance was 3.24 kmh. He said, still surprised by the talent of 2 of his students, just like the others, but a voice brought them all out of their amazement. Jack. Gods, so close, Izuku, I almost match you, he said, looking at his friend who just smiled. Izuku. Maybe for the next Onohe said simply. So the next ones passed and continued doing the other tests such as speed, strength, etc., where Izuku surprised with speed by leaving a strange trail while running. There was also a girl with heterochromia, that is, different colored eyes, who had a quirk of creating ice. This is how the tests would end. It is not worth highlighting who came in first and second. After that, Aizawa said that the expulsion was a joke, thanking a dwarf with purple spheres on his head who had come in last. Days passed where Inko, Izuku's mother, received a visit from Jack, which made her happy knowing that her son's childhood friend would be with him again. In addition, Izuku told her about the accident with the artifact that fell from the sky, and that was how he obtained his powers, which surprised Jack. Well, they discovered that the school had normal classes like any other, an example being the English class taught by the hero present Mike. All classes were normal until the last one's turn, where it was the heroism class taught by the number 1 hero All Might. Upon entering, everyone was amazed except for one, who was the young Midoriya, who, upon seeing him, his gaze turned cold, which would be something that surprised Jack because he remembered that Izuku was a faithful admirer of All Might, and seeing him like that caused doubts in him. All Might. Fine, I'll be your teacher in heroism class and we'll have this class as practical training, he said, leaving everyone surprised and excited. But for that you will need this, said, pressing a button on the wall, causing different portfolios to come out of it. Here are your superhero costumes according to the specifications given in your registration forms, so get dressed and let's go to the training camp, he said excitedly, being followed by the others arriving at the training camp with their costumes. All Might. Since you're all ready, let's begin. This will be a confrontation between heroes versus villains, and this will be easy. They will be divided into teams of 2 and will have to fulfill their mission. The heroes will have to recover a bomb. If they touch it or incapacitate their opponents, the villains will win. They will be in charge of protecting said bomb. They win if time runs out or if they incapacitate their rivals. Understood? Explained the number 1 hero, receiving a yes from the entire class except Izuku. All Might. Well, the first duel will be a Midoriya, Uraraka heroes versus D Bakugo, Lita villains. Everyone ready? Let's go to the area of the first match. Here it would be the same as in the anime, Bakugan waiting for them and Lita taking care of the bomb. Katsumi. I won't let you defeat me, nerd. I'm better than you, she said it full of fury. Izuku. Well, Uraraka, I'll take care of the two of them. You take advantage of this opportunity to recover the weapon. Understood, say so. Like a born leader receiving a yes by the chestnut being taken out of his thoughts by a voice. Katsumi. I found them, they're finished. He said this, causing an explosion in the wall behind them. Are you a total nerd? Scream full of anger, preparing an explosion, worrying Uraraka. Katsumi was getting dangerously close to Izuku, but he didn't move. But when he was a few centimeters away, Izuku opened his eyes and they shone completely with a blue bull that made the ash-haired girl stop suddenly to hear Izuku speak. Izuku. Psychic, he said without further ado, causing Katsumi to start levitating for no apparent reason. This left everyone surprised, especially Izumi, Uraraka, and Katsumi herself. Katsumi. What the hell is going on? I can't move. He spoke with frustration as he could not make any movement. Izuku. Surprise at Izuku's voice made everyone look at Katsumi in front of him, the rest of the class, and All Might himself on the screen. This is a telekinetic ability and you won't be able to move until I deactivate it. The green-haired man spoke, leaving everyone speechless and unable to believe he had such an effective technique. Katsumi. Damn it, put me down and fight. She responded full of fury. Izuku. I don't think so, although incapacitated it is something that can be done to win. The priority is to recover the weapon, said the green-eyed man simply, starting to walk, followed by Uraraka, while with his ability he moved Katsumi, arriving at the location of the weapon, capturing Lita's attention. Here ends the soundtrack of Dragon Ballet. Izuku. Okay, let's get this over with, said Izuku, using his power to throw Katsumi against Lita, impacting with this. Now Uraraka recovers the weapon. After saying what she said, the chestnut ran towards the weapon. Katsumi. Lita. You won't, answering both of them, standing up. Izuku. Those who are nothing will be you. Volt tackle, the green-haired man said, starting to run against both of them while being covered by a blanket of electricity. The impact on both of them, throwing them away from the weapon, as well as leaving them stunned by the attack due to the electricity. Note that Izuku did not use his attack with all his power, and if he had, he would have half killed them, gave Uraraka time to reach the weapon. Uraraka. Weapon recovered, he said, smiling as the plan went perfectly. All Might. The Ares win. And that's it for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Suggestions, comments, etc. are welcome. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the other fights, what mysteries the girl with heterochromia will have, and how Jack will perform in battle. This and more in the next chapter. Until next time, goodbye. Please read it to the end. We found ourselves in the heroism class where the first heroes versus villains match had just taken place, where the hero team made up of Izuku and Uraraka had defeated the villains made up of Katsumi and Lita. All Might. Well, the duel is over, so come back and discuss your performance. The great All Might spoke, causing a grimace of disgust from Izuku, seen by Katsumi, who was surprised to see that. The four had already arrived, being greeted by a look of admiration from some of the Deku students. All Might. Well, I want to congratulate the four for their performance in the test, but also in this fight as in the others we will have an MVP, and the one of this match was Izuku Midoriya, said the hero while showing his typical smile, and the majority applauded for the green-tinted Naruto. Could someone tell me why he was chosen as the best? The blonde asked, looking at a girl with quite developed attributes raising her hand. Not Miss Yaoyorozu. Momo. Well, he was the one who seemed most focused on the test, and he also devised a plan to confront the villains and prioritized recovering the weapon instead of trying to finish off the enemies, and in a real situation, that is quite obvious since it is better to take care of the artifact in question than the enemy. The brunette clarified, leaving the others speechless, including the number one hero. All Might. Wow, this girl really went on at length about how formidable her performance was. He thought as a drop of sweat ran down his head. Correct, Miss Yaoyorozu, that's it. All Might. Okay, let's move on to the next duel. It will be the Bishoji, Todoroki heroes vs Ojiro, Hagakure teams. Okay, let's continue. The battle happened just like the anime, with Todoroki freezing the entire building, immobilizing his opponents. Kirishima. Wow, Todoroki's Shuka quirk, half cold half hot, is incredible. Not for nothing is he one of the 4 students who entered by recommendation. The tough guy in the room spoke while the majority agreed with the less Izuku, who noticed something that they couldn't ignore. Jack. Izuku, is something wrong? The blue-eyed man asked his friend. Izuku. No, it's nothing. He just analyzed the abilities of the rest of our companions. The green-haired man responded calmly. Although I can't stop thinking about why he had such a sad look, the boy thought as he remembered when the girl defrosts the building. All Might. Okay, let's continue. The next duel will be between the Imina Aoyama Heroes vs F Izumi Mineta teams. Begin. This battle began with Team F covering the door while Team E began to arrive. It should be noted that Mina burned or melted Aoyama's shiny cloak. The battle wasn't even that big of a deal since we only saw Izumi's quirk, which is to rotate. She rotates her body like a tire and can cover her body while spinning with fire or electricity. In short, it's like Blanca from Street Fighter. But she still lost because Mineta was knocked down by Aoyama's laser beam and he recovered the weapon. All Might. Good job distracting a rival. Let's continue. The penultimate confrontation will be between the H-Suyu Tokiyami Heroes teams vs J Kirishima, 0 ahead. This duel was quite fast since the Bat Chicken with Dark Shadow disabled the 2 while Suyu recovered the weapon. All Might. Well, let's go with today's last duel between the Jijiro Kaminari Heroes vs C Momo Jack teams. Go ahead and give your best effort. Momo. Well, let's see. We have 2 doors, so we should block them to prevent them from entering, don't you think so? The black-haired woman spoke, looking at the other black-haired man who kept his eyes closed. Jack. It would be best, but that girl seems to be able to hear our actions, so if we ambush them using the other door while you distract them by making them believe that we blocked the door, it could catch them off guard. The blue-eyed man said while the black-haired woman thought about it for a few seconds. Momo. Okay, let's do it. Meanwhile, with the plane and Pikachu. Jiro. Well, according to the slight vibrations I heard, they are on the 4th floor. Follow me, said the girl as Kaminari followed her. Arriving at the 4th floor, Jiro connected his ear to the wall of the room. Momo. Well, it's almost there, just a few pairs of metal bars and the door will be locked. Jiro. Okay, Kaminari, use your quirk on the wall now that it's not fully protected. Kaminari. Okay, here you go. He couldn't finish as he saw an arrow of light shoot out, hitting the collar of his jacket and sending him against the wall. Jiro. Kaminari. Was the last thing she said before seeing a black-haired boy manifest an arc of light to attack her. Jack. Sorry, but it's over. It was the only thing he said before he shot an arrow that would send her wing next to Kirishima, only for it to insert itself into the side of his jacket. All Might. The villains win. Wow was the only villain team to win, said the Eternal Smile. Momo. We won, that's great, said the black-haired girl while looking at the black-haired man who maintained a calm smile, which made her blush when she saw that he turned to look at her. Jack. Thanks, said the boy without leaving his lineage. Momo. Why are you thanking me? You did most of the work, the girl said nervously at what her partner had said. Jack. Well, it was because they trusted me and believed that the plan would work, since to be a good hero you need to trust others even if you don't know them completely, the boy said simply, snapping his fingers, making the arrows that had Kaminari and Jiro against the wall disappear, letting them fall suddenly to the ground. Kaminari, Jiro. Ouch, you could warn us, they answered in unison while rubbing themselves from the blow. Jack. Sorry, he responded sadly for what had happened. All Might had gathered everyone. All Might. Well, we're done for today. I want to tell you that I was quite surprised today. Most of you already have the basics to work as a team and play a role to face adverse situations, and that pleases me, said the hero while everyone or most of them smiled at the praise of the number 1 hero, but everyone calmed down when they heard an alarm. Oh, it seems they need me. That's all for today. See you in the next class. Bye. After saying that, he ran off, leaving everyone confused, but they thought it was something related to his hero work. The rest of the day was normal and finally the exit came, making everyone go to their homes, but Izuku took a while and when he was about to leave someone stopped him. Jack. Izuku, we can talk. His tone seemed serious. Izuku. EHHH, yeah, what's going on? The green-haired man asked, surprised by his friend's actions, and they walked towards the exit like that. Jack. Well, because every time All Might spoke or addressed us, the whole room, you made gestures of disgust or anger. You were not a big fan of All Might. He couldn't continue because Izuku interrupted him. Izuku. Don't say it. He said angrily, clenching his fists tightly. Don't say his damn name again. Jack. Izuku, he said worriedly when he saw his friend's actions. Izuku. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have behaved towards you. He said, his head down because of what had happened. Jack. Calm down. If you don't feel like talking about it, that's fine. I don't know, I won't repeat it. He responded understandingly to his friend. Izuku. Thank you, all I can say is that he shattered my dream, he said as his friend opened his eyes. Jack. Really, if that's the case, he's not as great a hero as everyone thinks, he said in an annoyed manner, knowing a little of what the supposed #1 hero had done to his friend. Hey, how about we go to your house and you give me a rematch in Super Smash Bros. You still have the game, right? He said in a more cheerful manner, trying to cheer up our protagonist, which worked. Izuku. Okay, only if you give me a rematch tomorrow in FIFA, said the green-haired man more animatedly. Jack. It's okay, Mom will be happy to see you again, but remember, you'll always be my son in FIFA, he said mockingly as they walked towards the Midoriya house. So the days went by. Izuku continued being Jack's son in FIFA. Izuku and Momo were chosen as president and vice president of the class, and so a special day for the students arrived. Aizawa. Well, today we will have a special heroism class since we have to go by bus to be able to do it. The marijuana smoker responded reluctantly. Lita. And what is the practice, Professor? Aizawa. Well, the practical class will be about rescue. All. Rescue. And well, that's it for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Comments, suggestions, etc. are welcome. Aizawa. The practice will be about rescue. The teacher simply spoke, shocking everyone. Yes, but we will do it in a specific place, so we go to the bus. Everyone was already in their hero costumes and waiting for the bus. Already on the bus, Suyu. Hey Midoriya, your quirk allows you to use, in addition to the 4 already known elements, you can use other types of attacks. Kiro the little frog spoke while the whole class paid attention to her, even an ash-colored girl and a green-haired girl who watched the scene annoyed. Izuku. Well, Suyu, as you saw in the practices the other day, I could use electricity and also telekinesis, but I can also use others like steel, plants and other attacks that I don't know what element they would be, but if the opportunity arises in the future I can show them to you. The protagonist spoke calmly, exciting his companions who were not waiting to see those powers. Kirishima. Wow, your quirk is amazing, I can only harden my body, said the redhead, a little dejected at having a partner with surprising abilities. Izuku. But that is a great quirk. In fact, no one has a quirk that is useless or inferior to that of others, because you can get a lot out of it as long as you find a way to bring out its greatest potential. He said it in such an inspiring way, motivating his teammates and causing an almost imperceptible smile in Aizawa. Mina. By the way, Izuku, have you and Jack known each other for a while? Asked the pink one, making everyone look at both of them. While one was about to answer, the other was listening to music with his cell phone. Izuku. That's right, Jack and I have been best friends since 1st grade, but when we went to high school we separated because his dad had a job offer in Europe and they went there, explained the green-tinted Naruto. Momo. And how did they meet? The vice president of the hall asked. Izuku. Well, it was a little funny how it took me a long time to awaken my quirk. I was considered quirkless and they bothered me, and one day while some boys were bothering me, Jack hit one of them and told him that if they messed with me they would mess with him, and from then on nobody bothered me. Speak, causing surprise in most of them not knowing that Izuku suffered from bullying, but they smiled knowing that someone helped him even without asking for anything. Aizawa. Leave your conversation for later, we've arrived, he said, and after a few seconds the bus stopped at a rather strange building. Everyone was already off the bus while a rather strange person was waiting for them. Welcome to the USJ disaster area. I don't remember what sorry means, a kind of giant marshmallow spoke. Izuku. You are the professional hero 13, Really the greatest hero when it comes to rescue. Izuku spoke excitedly, as did his companions, for having a world-renowned hero. 13. That's right, but let's talk inside. Once inside, everyone was completely surprised as they could see various areas to work on for rescue. 13. As you can see, the USJ is equipped to perform various types of rescues such as mountain rescues, landslides, fires, earthquakes, at sea, and many others. The hero spoke enthusiastically to the young people. 13. But guys, I want you to understand that you have those quirks to help people. Mine is black hole that allows me to absorb everything and turn it into dust. But how can I help save people? Can I hurt them or worse, kill them? You can already master your quirks, but you do not understand how to use them. You have to be cautious, because if you become heroes and do not know what is necessary, a movement performed carelessly could be tragic for innocent people. That is why you have to know how to use the quirk correctly and effectively. Well, that was what I wanted to say. He finished speaking. 13 to receive a series of applause from the students. Aizawa. 13. Where is All Might was supposed to be here. The black-haired man spoke, turning to look at 13. 13. Well, I'm saying that his hero work went on a little longer than expected and he won't be able to come until the end of class. The astronaut spoke a little nervously. Aizawa. Okay, listen, let's start, so I don't want you to. He couldn't finish as he saw a portal or a dark fog coming out of the fountain where a bunch of villains started to come out. 13. Get them out of here, these are super villains, he said, scaring everyone as they thought they were part of the practice. Mina. Professor says to evacuate us, but what will happen to you? You don't plan to face them alone. Your quirk alone would stop them, but they overcome it. The alien spoke, worried about her teacher. Aizawa. Hey Ishido, to be a professional hero you need more than one trick. After saying this, Aizawa launched himself towards the villains, first at the ranged ones, disabling their quirks and tangling them with his scarf, then attacking different enemies with his quirk and scarf, taking his eyes off the dark mist. 13. Guys, we have to get out of here and fast. He couldn't finish as the dark mist appeared, taking a human form in front of them. Black Mist. I see a change of plans since All Might was supposed to be here, but what does it matter? He'll surely come if we kill some of you. After what he said, everyone turned pale because he made it clear that he would kill them. 13. I'm not going to allow it. Opening one of his fingers, but was interrupted by Katsumi and Izumi, who rushed to attack him. Black Mist. Nice try, but it won't be enough, he said, covering everything with his mist, forming a dome. Jack. The one who won't do enough will be you, Barrera. The black-haired man spoke, creating an invisible dome that prevented the passage of the mist. Black Mist. Well, that helped, but not enough, he said, creating more portals from which a group of villains emerged. 13. Damn, that's a lot, he said, activating his quirk trying to close the portals, but just like in the anime, Black Mist would use his quirk against them, leaving them out of combat. Momo. Teacher passes. The big busted waifu spoke with concern upon seeing the hero like this. Kirishima. They are too much for us, we won't be able to. The redhead spoke nervously. Izuku. Yes we can, but we all need to work together first. Hagakure. Take care of 13-second Lita. Get out of here with your super speed, you can bring help, the rest of us will have to face them, but for that we need to make the situation even. The green-haired man spoke, causing unparalleled determination in his companions. Lita. Fine, but hold on, I won't be long. I spoke nervously but full of determination, running towards the door, but Black Mist was about to stop him. Black Mist. No escaparas. Jack. Barrier. The black-haired man spoke, creating a force field around Lita, allowing her to escape. Izuku. Perfect, we just have to hold on, and I think this will help. Meteor Dragon. He screamed with all his might, opening his mouth, creating a sphere of energy that would shoot upwards and break into multiple parts, attacking multiple opponents. After that the fight began, students against villains, all showing their skills. Izuku attacking with everything he had, like Jack, who with his bow prevented them from approaching. 13 and Hagakure. Shoji and Ojiro throwing merciless blows to whoever approached. Tsuyu and Tokiyami attacking from a distance along with Zero and Jiro, since it would be with the tape immobilized, and Jiro with his amplifiers knocked them down. Aoyama and Mina using their quirk to create a security perimeter. Kirishima hit whatever was in front of him, and Uraraka threw objects without gravity, and when they were close to the enemy she returned it to normal. Momo creating different artifacts to attack. Kirishima electrocuted some and then fried his brain, being taken care of by Mineta, who threw his balls that immobilized the villains since they could not remove them, and Bakugo, Izumi and Todoroki on their own. Aizawa. Only you remain and we finish and throw a punxing a guy with a bunch of hands on his body. Shigaraki. Wow, you are so predictable. Your quirk is useful, but it seems that every so often your hair falls out, implying that your eyelashes and quirk no longer work. Doji taking Aizawa's elbow and hurting him with his quirk in the same way as in the anime. By the way, I'm not the last one, he is. He said as a giant chicken on steroids appeared behind Aizawa, giving him the same beating as in the anime. Meet the number 1 genetically engineered anti-hero Nomu. Aizawa. He has the same strength as All Might because I know I could erase his quirk, but it was useless, he said, seriously hurt. Professor Aizawa, she said worriedly as she watched him, along with the others, to see how he was doing. Izumi. We have to help him or he will kill him, he said as he ran over there with Katsumi. Izuku. Don't do it, his power is equal to All Might's, he said, leaving everyone in shock. I asked why they attacked today because they wanted All Might. It's obvious they brought that thing to fight All Might. Uraraka. But if we don't do something he'll kill Professor Aizawa, he said it with tears, just like most people when they saw the brutal scene. Izuku. Yes, but I have it. All those who attack from a distance like Shiro and Aoyama, prepare to attack when I tell you. 3, 2, 1. Now after what was said, everyone attacked the Nomu, causing it to release Aizawa. Now agility starting to run at high speed, taking Aizawa, but the Nomu recovered quick likers, he said, seeing the Nomu throwing a punch in his direction. Jack. Barrier, he shouted at the top of his lungs as the Nomu hit the dome. The barrier withstood the impact, but Jack could be seen bleeding from his nose. Jack. What are you waiting for? Get him out of here quickly. The black-haired man spoke while charging energy in his hands, and Izuku ran out with the others. Let's see if this is your size final flash, he said, firing a pretty strong energy attack. After that, Jack took advantage of the explosion to run away, but was surprised to turn around and see that the Nomu was coming out of the explosion, and he didn't seem to have friendly intentions, but before he even moved, someone spoke. All Might. Do not fear because I am here. And that's it for today's chapter. I hope you liked it a lot. Comments, suggestions, etc. are welcome. What will happen next? How will All Might face the number 1 antihero, and how will Aizawa feel after what happened? This and much more in the next chapter. Bye. All Might. Don't fear because I am here. The number 1 professional hero spoke, causing immense joy in all the students except Izuku. Todo Izuku. All Might. They all said full of happiness, and the girls with tears on their faces except Todoroki and Katsumi. Shigaraki. Wow, so you finally made an appearance, symbol of peace, said the Thousand Hands coldly. All Might. If young Lita hadn't found me, I wouldn't have known the situation and the danger the young people were going through, and that's why I find my companions seriously injured. Aizawa 13, I will give everything I have so that their sacrifice has not been in vain, thought the hero as he clenched his fists tighter and tighter. Shigaraki. Nomu, he said without further ado, causing the beast to launch itself at All Might, who did the same. Thus began a fight where All Might kept hitting after hitting, but the Nomu didn't seem to be affected in the slightest. All Might. But why don't any of my attacks cause damage? The blonde spoke, surprised like the others to see that it didn't cause him any harm. Shigaraki. Surprised, the Nomu can absorb your blows without taking any damage. It's not fun. You can only do it with more precise and slow blows, of course, if it lets you. The blue-haired man spoke with a bit of mockery in his voice. All Might. Thanks for the info. With that I can beat him, he said, standing behind him and applying a German suplex, making everyone believe that he had defeated him. But the surprise came when he saw that the Nomu had crossed a portal of black mist and was digging its claws into All Might's ribs. All Might. Damn it, don't hurt me, that's where my wound is, All Might thought when he found himself in that situation. Kirishima. Damn, he caught him, we have to do something, he said, turning to see his companions who were in shock and scared to see the number 1 hero in trouble. Meanwhile, a little further away from them and closer to the fight, we see a green-haired man and a black-haired man sheltering, taking care of a seriously injured Aizawa. Izuku. Damn, that jester is in trouble, we have to do something and fast, the green-haired man spoke about the situation. Jack. You're right, I have the necklace, or that silver thing in the dark mist is like his stabilizer, if we move it maybe his powers can get out of control, the black-haired man spoke, looking at the green-haired man who remained silent for a few seconds. Izuku. It could work, but it has to be very precise. I will launch an attack. You can still launch your arrows, although it could only be one and with a reduced time. The green-haired man spoke with determination and nervousness at the same time. Jack. That's all I need. The black-haired man spoke, summoning his arc of light. Izuku. 3, 2.1. Now said, coming out of his hiding place and shouting with all his might, Ray Solarr, he said, unleashing his powerful attack, taking the villains by surprise and surprising his teammates in all might. Shigaraki. But what? It was the only thing he could say when he saw how the attack was directed at Black Mist, but he managed to dodge it by showing his collar. Izuku. Now Jack. Jack. Heavenly arrow, he said, shooting an arrow a little bigger than the ones he used in class, connecting it to the necklace and causing Kurogiri to lose control of his powers. Shigaraki. Cursed the blue-haired man as he saw how the portal became destabilized in All Might. All Might. Thank you, Midoriya Shonen Beezarius Shonen, now you can go with the others, I will take care of it, the hero spoke with his clothes torn and wounds. Izuku. Fine, whatever you want, but I don't think you're in condition, said the green-haired man in a cold tone. All Might. Don't worry, I'll do it, and thanks for your help, he said without further ado, launching into the attack, so you can hold on, let's see how long you can hold on. He said, starting to hit the Nomu harder and causing an exchange of blows. All Might. I'll finish you off now, so I'll use every villain you've ever heard of plus Ultra, he said, throwing an extremely powerful punch, causing the Nomu to fly away. Shigaraki. It can't be him, he lied to me, he said he would run out of strength. No, and I don't have the Nomu anymore. I speak with frustration as I see his plan ruined. Black Mist. Shigaraki, we have to retreat, otherwise we will be captured. I speak by creating a portal through which both of them escaped, leaving the rest of the villains to their fate. All Might. Thank you very much, guys, you were very brave today even though it was dangerous, said the blonde, watching the young people walk towards a bush and take out Aizawa and start walking towards the exit. Jack. There's nothing to be thankful for, All Might. We'd probably be lost if it hadn't been for you showing up. The black-haired man spoke while holding Aizawa's feet, and Izuku took him by the arms with his body on his back. So going to the exit where the teachers and the principal appeared to help but were surprised to see the villains defeated. Nezu. Young Lita informed us that they were being attacked by villains, but I see that they had everything under control, said the director looking around. Mina. Thank you, Mr. Director, but the credit goes to Izuku, since he was the one who told us how to act to overcome the problem and not fall into fear. The pink-haired girl spoke while the others nodded at her words. Izuku. That's not true, all of you also showed your courage and valor by giving your all, said Izuku, appearing on the stairs of the place with Jack carrying Professor Aizawa and accompanied by All Might. After that the patrols arrived taking all the villains and the ambulances taking Aizawa and 13. Uraraka. Excuse me, Principal, but will teachers Aizawa and 13 be okay? The brunette asked, a little worried while the others paid attention. Nezu. Calm down, you and your companions have nothing to worry about, they are out of danger, so don't worry. The director spoke, making the young people feel calmer. Meanwhile, somewhere else, in the middle of what appeared to be a bar, a dark mist appeared, leaving a blue-haired man in the center quite upset. Shigaraki. He lied to me. All Might never weakened, we looked ridiculous. The blue-haired man spoke, frustrated. At one point a screen lit up and a strange voice spoke. And how did it go for you, Shigaraki? Although judging by your face I suppose it went badly. Shigaraki. Sensei, what you told me was a lie. All Might never looked weak, he even showed an even more terrifying power by defeating the Nomu. I see, let's see this as a small failure, but remember this very well, Shigaraki, the world will soon witness the fall of the symbol of peace. And that's it for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Comments, suggestions, etc. are welcome. Who is that voice that will have plans for the future, and how will our protagonist cope with the difficulties that are to come? This and much more in the next chapter. Goodbye. 4 weeks have passed since what happened with the League of Villains, where Izuku did not waste time. Dragon Meteor, Celestial Arrow. On a lonely beach, a green-haired man and a black-haired man kept training, and all you could see was the collision of their attacks. Jack. I think we should rest, don't you think, Izuku? Said the black-haired man, seeing the green-haired man tired like him. Izuku. Yes, I think that's enough for today, replied the green-haired boy, walking towards the black-haired boy and sitting next to him. Jack. Tell me what's wrong. I've noticed you've been distracted the last few days, the black-haired man spoke calmly, looking at his friend. Izuku. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, said the green-haired boy seriously, but the boy's seriousness changed, showing a calm face. What happens is that by analyzing things I realize that the villains are improving and creating things, and that makes me wonder if the current heroes and those to come, them and the others, are improving at the same level as them, spoke bluntly the green Naruto, who just looked at how his friend showed a carefree smile. Jack. Well, maybe you're right. The proof was what he experienced at school. That thing was very strong, only All Might could fight it, and that had complications to the point that two simple aspiring heroes had to help him. The black-haired man spoke seriously, looking at his friend. Izuku. And that's what I want to get to, and if that thing wasn't the final prototype, and if they make another more powerful one, if it was difficult for the #1 hero to defeat that thing, how will it go for the other heroes, and we won't be ready to fight against something like that? The boy spoke coldly and seriously, looking at the sky. Jack. True, but until that day comes, we have to become stronger, he said with more enthusiasm, standing up and raising his fist. Izuku. You're right, we have to overcome our limits, he said, imitating his friend's action. So the days went by and finally we returned to school. Uraraka. We're finally back to school, the brunette said excitedly. Lita. You're right, it's always good to go back to school to continue learning, she said in her typical way. But everyone calmed down when they saw Izuku. Jack. Hey bro, you're late, you've gotten used to not having classes, the black-haired man said mockingly. Izuku. Haha, very funny, Jack, but I didn't accompany mom to the center and from there she'll come here. The green-haired boy said, but before continuing the conversation with the black-haired boy, more than half the class approached him. Hagakure. Midoriya, it's good to see you. I mean, we wanted to thank you for your leadership when the villains attacked the invisible girl, spoke Kirishima. Hagakure is right, if it weren't for you I don't know how it would have ended, the redhead said sincerely. Juru. Also, you and Jack were the ones who rescued Professor Aizawa and helped All Might, said the purple-haired girl smiling. Momo. True, but tell me, Izuku, we were all a little scared at that moment, and there's no denying it, but you seem not to be scared, like you do? The voluptuous woman from the room said, looking at the green-haired man. Izuku. First of all, I thank you for your words, but don't take credit away from your actions, and second, Momo, yes, I was afraid, but I gave my all to show confidence, since showing your fear would give your opponent an advantage, and thanks to that, you showed more confidence, said the green-haired man smiling, looking at all his teammates. Katsumi. I don't know what so many stupid things they say, that idiot only did those things to take credit, said Ash angrily. Izumi. Kachan is right. We were going to save Professor Aizawa and the useless guy stopped us just so he and that idiot Jack will take the credit, she said, just as annoyed as Ash. Everyone looked at the two a little annoyed, but a green-haired man decided to speak. Izuku. I did it to take credit with Jack, what nonsense are you talking about? Because of your stupidity, Professor 13 ended up hurt. He was going to use his quirk to stop the mist, but before that, you two smart guys launched an attack, and what caused that? I do now remember that damn guy tried to do something to us with his quirk. If it weren't for Jack, that would have happened. Also, that's why the villains were able to surround us. If you had gone to Professor Aizawa's, that thing would have most likely killed you, he said with an annoyed face that intimidated and calmed the two while the others smiled at putting the show-offs in their place. But no one could say anything because the door opened revealing Professor Aizawa all bandaged up. Lita. Professor is feeling well enough to teach, said the quick one with concern for his teacher. Juru. Lita is right, I should rest, said the purple-haired girl. Aizawa. My health is the least important thing. Now we have to talk about your next challenge. The professor spoke calmly from under the bandages. Uraraka. But Professor, the villains thing wasn't that long ago, said the chestnut. Aizawa. The heroes have to pay attention to their new challenges, and for you that is the sports festival, said the black-haired man, leaving everyone surprised. All. Sports festival. And that's it for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Comments, suggestions, etc. are welcome. What new challenges await the protagonist, and what will the sports festival be like? This and much more in the next chapter. Goodbye. The entire 1A class was excited by the news of the sports festival. Uraraka. Wow, aren't you excited, girls? We'll have our first big event, brown-haired girl said excitedly, looking at her friends. Momo. You're right, this is one of the opportunities for agencies to see your potential and hire us. The brunette spoke while the others agreed with her idea. Kirishima. Guys, don't you think this is big news? The redhead spoke happily. Tokiyami. In a way it's good to measure our skills, but we also have to consider the fact that it's a program watched worldwide, and some of the villains who manage to escape can watch and learn. The bat chicken is serious while looking at his companions. Ojiro. You're right about that, but let's trust that nothing will happen and look at the positive side. I'm talking about the one in the tail receiving a settlement from his other companions. Jack. Izuku, you know how the festival works, don't you? The black-haired man asked, looking at his friend. Izuku. That's right, the 4 branches of UA such as support, business, general studies and hero course come together and fight through preliminaries of different types. The students who pass the tests reach the final to say the winner, explained the green-haired man, looking at his friend who was only paying attention. Jack. Then I think it will be a lot of fun, so let's give it our best. The black-haired man spoke with a smile. I see, so this is my chance to face you and see our levels. I'm looking forward to it, he thought, watching as his friend signaled him to go to the dining room. Later that day, Izuku. Ah, how good the day is over. How good a little rest wouldn't hurt me, the green-haired man expressed himself. Lita. This time I agree with you, Midorira. Today was. She didn't finish because Mineta spoke. Mineta. What are they all doing here? They won't let us out, said the little one, looking at a human barrier that was in front of the room watching them. Lita. Excuse me. What can I offer you with the 1A class? She asked, confused when she saw all these people. Katsumi. It doesn't matter, step aside extras, I don't care if you came to observe the group that stopped the villains, get out of my way. The Ash spoke, followed by the green-haired girl. Wow, so this is class 1A. With this girl I realize that they're just a bunch of boastful braggarts. A blue-haired boy said while calling the attention of everyone present. You know, this festival is not just for entertainment but also to show if any of the other groups are suitable for the hero class or if they are not suitable for it, he said without further ado, sending a shiver through those in Class A. So the days went by where all the boys of Class A trained hard in their own way to become stronger, and so the 2 weeks flew by and the day finally arrived and the stadium was about to re-enter with high expectations from the people. Fan 1. You've heard the rumors that the daughter of the number 2 hero is in her first year. Fanatic 2. Yes, I've heard it, and also that the son of the number 1 hero in the European region is here this year. It will be exciting. Meanwhile, on another part of the stadium. Inc. I hope things go well for you, Izuku. I will support you with everything, the green-haired girl thought until a voice pulled her out of her thoughts. Inko Midoriya. How long? A woman with an acceptable body spoke. Inko. Merlin, hello, how have you been? The green-haired girl replied. Merlin. Good, and from what I see, you also came to support Izuku, right? The black-haired girl expressed herself. Inko. Of course, and I better not ask, you never miss a Jack event, but where is Escanor? Said the green-haired girl, looking at her friend. Escanor. They said my name. Hello Inko. How long? A somewhat muscular man spoke. Inko. Hello Escanor, it's been a while. Although I know that you've been living in Japan since classes started and you've never visited me. How mean, expressed herself with green eyes. Merlin. Yes, I know, but you didn't visit us either, so we're still the same, said the black-haired girl mockingly. Escanor. Well, it would be better to go to our places before it starts, don't you believe it? The orange-haired man spoke. Inko. You're right. Let's go, thus ending the conversation, heading to some empty seats near the center. While in the locker room. Lita. Guys, the moment is almost here, are you ready? The blue-haired man spoke while everyone nodded. Todoroki. Midoriya, I speak the bicolor, making sure everyone pays attention. Izuku. What's wrong, Todoroki? The green-haired man spoke calmly. Todoroki. Being honest and looking at your actions, I know I can beat you without any problem. The girl spoke, surprising everyone and annoying Katsumi and Izumi. Kirishima. Hey, calm down, you shouldn't start a fight between classmates, I speak, trying to calm the situation. Todoroki. I don't care, this school is for training heroes, not for making friends you get along with, she said coldly without stopping looking at Izuku. Izuku. If you think you can defeat me, try it. Actions speak louder than words. The green-haired man said, turning around and sitting down. Minutes later. Present mic. Okay, everyone is ready to start the festival. Fans. Yes. Present mic. Well then, let's welcome the groups. First, the class that faced the villains, the 1A class, while everyone in the group left. Then they haven't had the spotlight like their classmates, but here they are in the 1B class. The following are classes C, D and E of General Studies. Then we have the support courses for classes F, G and H. And finally the business courses, which are class 1, J and K. Present mic. With all the participants already on the field, welcome to our referee for this match, the professional hero class R Midnight, she said, causing excitement in most of the men. Midnight. Well, we'll start the festival with the swearing in of a student chosen at random, and student Katsumi Bakugo steps forward. The whole class A. How did they choose her? Sweating cold. Girl class A. Of course it had to be from class A. What a surprise, he said, depressed to most of the A. Katsumi. I protest. I will be first above everyone, I speak arrogantly, causing the anger of the other classes. The other classes. Damned A, you'll see, we can put them in their place. The rest of the groups expressed annoyance, while those of already felt a target shooting indicator because of Bakugo. Midnight. I think that will be enough, and well, let's see what the first game will be, and this will be obstacle course. In this test you will hear an exit and you will have to go around the stadium, but around there were different obstacles placed, so be careful, the dominatrix spoke looking at the boys. So everyone took positions. Present mic. Okay, help me everyone, 3, 2, 1 out. Present mic shouts, making everyone run to the tunnel to see how they all ran out without being able to pass. Izuku. If I want to pass, I'll have to use it, there's no other way to teleport. He said, surprised to everyone else when they saw him disappear, and even more surprised to see him appear outside the tunnel. Izuku. Ready, good luck trying to get out of the tunnel, he said, smiling until he heard someone. Jack. Thanks for the ride, buddy, and remember, before you do those techniques, check that no one is holding you. Bye, he said mockingly as he took off. Present mic. This is incredible. A runner is about to reach the first obstacle, and it is the young Jack Beezarius EHHH, and followed by the young Izuku Midoriya. Incredible, he said, encouraging the entire audience that only lit up at every moment. Aizawa. They are the best of 1A, I'm not surprised they were the first to leave, he said calmly into the microphone, still all bandaged. Merlin. It seems that boys don't play games, don't you think, Inko? She looked at her friend. Inko. You're right. They never give up and always give their all. On the other hand, a green-haired man was watching the situation on the screen. What is that useless guy doing at UA if he's just a damn quirkless? And that's it for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Comments, suggestions, etc. are welcome. Who was that man, and why does he hold such a grudge against Izuku, and how will the green-haired man fare at the festival? Well, this and much more in the next chapter. Goodbye. We met at the sports festival after the opening ceremony to announce the first obstacle course event, kicking off the festival. Present mic. Incredible, young Beezarius is the first to take the lead, followed by young Midoriya, both from Class A. The hero spoke very enthusiastically, motivating the people. Izuku. Ah, Jack, that's not fair, he spoke a little annoyed by what happened. Jack. Don't get angry. Everything is valid, so I don't see a problem, said the blonde in a mocking tone. As both approached the first obstacle, the rest of the competitors were doing the same. Izumi. Damn, how did they get out of the tunnel? It doesn't matter, I have to catch up with them, she said with frustration and annoyance. Todoroki. Damn, he's humiliating me, I won't allow it, he said, starting to freeze the tunnel like in the anime, causing most of them to leave. Present mic. Amazingly, Todoroki has frozen most of the tunnel and left the path clear for most of the competitors, taking third place. I speak into a walking microphone. Returning to the protagonist. Present mic. The leaders are reaching the first obstacle, the robots will have to dodge or destroy them, but this would benefit the pursuers. Aizawa. It's a risky decision but it would be faster than dodging them, the mummy spoke. Izuku. I don't have time but I don't want to help others, said the green-haired boy. I have it double team, said the boy creating clones of himself confusing the robots. Present mic. What is this? There are multiple Midoriyas that this means. Aizawa. Wow, I've never used that technique before, said the black-haired man calmly but with interest. Present mic. Incredible, young Midoriya doesn't beat around the bush and shows a new technique. Jack. Unhappy. You used that technique so that the illusions distract them and you slip through their blind spot, but I will not be left behind, he said while concentrating energy on his feet. Present mic. Oh, Midoriya is taking the first position, that seems to be the real one, and it is, he said while the illusions disappeared. Jack. Now super jumped, he said while shooting into the sky, falling on the head of a robot. Let's go again, jumping again, putting himself elbow to elbow with Izuku. Present mic. Surprisingly, the two walk side by side, neither of them wanting to give in. Todoroki. I won't be left behind, freezing the robot passing by him. So everyone or most of them showing off their Bakugo skills, flying with explosions, Momo knocking down several with her cannon and so on. Everyone from Class A. We won't be left behind by Jack, much less by Izuku, they all said with determination. Present mic. It's incredible that Class A wants to show its potential. Aizawa. It's more than just showing their potential. They're taking this very seriously because of what they experienced at USJ, and they won't take this as a simple game. Present mic. This is incredible. The young Midoriya and Beezarius are arriving at the minefield. No, these boys will not give a break. Aizawa, what do you teach your students? Aizawa. I haven't done anything, they just want to show what they're made of, and these two are true machines dedicated to giving it their all. Izuku. This is a designed trap. Jack. To stop the leaders. Izuku. This won't stop me, Aquajet, he said, covering himself in water and flying over the field. Jack. I won't be left behind. Propulsion, he spoke as his steps threw energy and he shot out across the field. More or less like this while at the second obstacle. Filler student. Hey, those two are monsters, they never rest, he said, looking at a screen where Izuku and Jack were seen. Izumi. Those two don't know anything, they never cared about the rest of us, they only think about showing who is the best of the two. He thought as he walked past the boy who was just staring. Todoroki. Damn, these two don't mess around. I think I shouldn't have intimidated him, he said while moving along a cable on the cliff. Katsumi. Damn Deku, don't humiliate me, he said, increasing his speed. Returning to the end of the race. Present mic. This event is about to dictate a winner, whoever it is, he said, watching as both left their powers and began to run. The nonsense is over, both entered the tunnel, who will be the first to win? The first to leave is Izuku Midoriya and the young Jack Beezarius in second. Izuku. I did it, I finished first, he said, full of emotion while receiving an obsession from the public. Jack. Fu, well done Izuku, I think the best one, but good race, friend, stretching his hand while Izuku shook it in a sign of respect. Izuku. I say the same, friend, I say the same, he said, smiling. Inko. Looks like the first round is for my son, she said mockingly to her friend. Merlin. You're right, but this isn't over yet, she said, smiling as the two of them began to emanate an aura of competitiveness. Skanor. Fence and then wonder why our children take their competitive friendship to extremes, the man thought as his wife and her friend looked at each other defiantly. Returning to the field. Present mic. Before the rest of the competitors arrive, the best 42 will pass, but let's review the first positions. 1 Izuku Midoriya, 2 Jack Beezarius, 3 Shuka Todoroki, 4 Katsumi Bakugo, 5 Izumi Yagami. These are the first 5, well, let's see what's next. Midnight. Well, it's time to see what the next event is from the festival, and this is Cavalry Battles. Well, in this event teams of maximum 4 and minimum 3 will be formed. 2 of your companions will lift their companion, and if there is a fourth will go to the back of the squad and will be given a ribbon with points accumulated among the participants of your squad. Each of you, depending on your position in the race, will be given the points, and the points of the first place are 1 million points. Izuku. 1 million points, he said a little nervously. All Izuku. So whoever takes points from Midoriya will practically end up first. Midnight. You have 7 minutes to choose your team. The competition will last 15 minutes. And so time passed just like in the anime. Izuku would team up with Tokiyami, Mei and Uraraka, and Bakugo would team up with Mina, Izumi and Kirishima. Midnight. Well, we start in 3, 2, 1 start. So the second event would start the same way, everyone against Izuku, but here he wouldn't use Mei's artifact but rather his teleportation, and everyone would start to take off their ribbons without compassion. Katsumi. Okay, let's go for the one. She didn't finish because someone snatched the tape from her. Monoma. Nothing personal, but you guys from Class A got too confident. We use our heads more, he said arrogantly and presumptuously. Kirishima. Damn, he took it off, said the redhead. Izumi. Come on, we have to get her back, said the green-haired girl desperately. Monoma. Ha, wait, aren't you the girl who suffered an attack from a villain on television and almost ended up crying? She said, provoking the fury of the Muslim woman. Katsumi. Kirishima, change of plans, we'll go after that bastard. At the same time but on another level, Izuku tried to protect the million points until he lost it against Todoroki's team like in the anime and tried to recover it. Izuku. Guys, we'll go all out. Tokiyami. They still don't know that Dark Shadow is weak, so let's use that to our advantage, he said, receiving a nod from his teammates. Present mic. 30 seconds left. Izuku. Go ahead, take this. Aerial ace, he said, causing a wave of wind that moved Todoroki's arm, taking a ribbon. Uraraka. Well, Izuku, which one did you take? She said, looking at the green-haired boy. Izuku. It was 100 points, he said incredulously. Momo. Good idea to change the tape's location, Todoroki, she said while looking at Izuku's face. Izuku. Let's go again, launching the attack. Bakugo. Let's go for the million. EHH, the nerd doesn't have it then. Ah damn, half and half, you have it, he said, also launching himself into the attack. Mic on. 10 seconds we start the countdown, whispering death. More or less like this, Todoroki. What the hell, said the girl as she watched a ray of light rip off the million-point ribbon. Present mic. Times the winning team is Jack Bezarius's. He said this while looking at the black-haired man with the $1 million ribbon. Jack. Next time check your blind spot, Todoroki, said the black-haired man. Present mic. Well, let's see the 4 teams that will reach the final phase. The group consists of 1 Bezarius, Shinso, Tetsu and Abara. Team 2 Todoroki, Lida, Momo and Kaminari. Team 3 Katsumi, Mina, Kirishima and Izumi. And Team 4 the team of Midoriya, Mei, Uraraka and Tokiyami. Izuku. But how? He said in disbelief. Tokiyami. I took this 500-point tape when you opened Todoroki's defense, said the bad chicken calmly, seeing Izuku's smile. Present mic. Well, the games are over because it's time for the final game. One-on-one battles. And that's it for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Remember that comments, suggestions, etc. are welcome. What will happen in the future? How will the battles unfold? And who will win the festival? This and much more will be in the next chapter. Goodbye. We are at the sports festival where the second event has just ended, with only 16 players making it through to the final round of one-on-one battles. Present mic. Okay, now I'll give the floor to the heroine Midnight to explain the final event. Midnight. Thanks. Present mic. The last event has already been said will be 1 vs 1 battles where quirks can be used. If the competitors use their power to seriously hurt, they will be disqualified. The match will end on a platform built by the cement hero, and the only ways to win is by leaving the platform, immobilizing the opponent, or that he cannot continue. There will be several rounds from the 8ths to the final, and whoever is the winner will win the festival, said the dominatrix with emotion causing euphoria in those present. Izuku. Now comes the good part, he said looking at his companions who looked equally excited. While in another part of the field Kendo. Well done guys, you made it to the final phase, said an orange-haired girl seeing a boy similar to Kirishima and a green-haired girl. Pony. If they are incredible I hope they put the name of Class 1B, a girl with horns spoke. Tetsu. Don't worry, we'll do it, Kirishima's copy spoke. Abara. Thank you for your kind words, girls, but we wouldn't have gotten this far if it weren't for that boy, the girl with the vines said, pointing at Jack. Kendo. What do you mean, Abara? The confused orange-haired girl spoke. Abara. Well, what happens is that in the cavalry they took the ribbon from us almost from the beginning and said that we shouldn't move too much so as not to attract attention, and when we got to the last 15 seconds he told us to approach Todoroki's group and simply created a whip of light and snatched the ribbon of the highest score. The boy is very dangerous if he is not given the necessary attention, said the green-haired girl looking at her friend who could not assimilate her words. Present Mike. Well, the break is over and Cementos has already finished creating the platform. They will also help Midnight with the meetings that are ready, said the blonde encouraging the people. Midnight. Well, let's start spinning the wheel to see who will be the first. Remember, those who formed a team in the cavalry will not face each other in the first round without more than the first ones come out. They are Abara versus Kaminari. Two guys on the platform. The two went to the front. Midnight. Begin. Kaminari quickly approached and tried to touch Abara to electrocute her but was stopped by Abara's vines. Present Mike. Incredible, young Kaminari began his attack trying to electrocute Abara but she quickly protected herself with her hair. Kaminari. If those things won't let me through, I'll just have to do that, it'll be all or nothing. At that moment Kaminari wrapped himself in electricity, launching a powerful discharge in Abara's direction, but she quickly wrapped herself up, protecting herself from the attack. Abara. That didn't hurt me, it's time for me to fight back. But what happened to you? She said, watching the blonde talk and act like an idiot. In the stands. Juru. Ha, I know we have brains, the purple-haired girl spoke without avoiding mocking her partner. Back in battle, Abara. I don't think I should hurt you, she said as she wrapped him in her vines and took him out. Midnight. The winner is Abara from Class 1B, she said, cheering for Class B to beat A. Well, the next meeting will be between Mina versus Jack. Present Mike. The second match will feature one of the top two in the entire competition. I'm speaking as I watch them both enter the platform. Mina. Jack, get ready because I'm going all out, the pink-haired girl said in a defiant tone. Jack. I didn't expect anything less than a good battle, he said looking calmly. Midnight. Begin. Mina didn't wait a second to throw an acid that wasn't dangerous enough to seriously injure but was enough to incapacitate the opponent. Mina. Victory is mine, seeing how her acid reached Jack's place and he didn't even flinch. Present Mike. Young Beezarius doesn't move so that Miss Ishido's attack will hit the target. Jack. That's what you think Barrera hurts, he said, stopping the acid with an invincible field. Escanor. Poor girl, she sang victory so quickly, said the man watching the battle. Jack. This is over. Celestial Arrow, he spoke without further ado, creating an energy arc shooting several arrows that stuck into the mine's clothing, dragging her off the platform. Midnight. Miss Ishido is out. The winner is young Beezarius. Present Mike. I can't believe it, he only needs one attack to defeat his opponent, there's no doubt because he's the hero of a great hero. Midnight. Let's continue. The following are Momo versus Tokiyami. The two of them come forward. Begin. This battle was very fast since Tokiyami summoned Dark Shadow and with 3 hits he knocked Momo off the platform. Midnight. The winner is Tokiyami. Present Mike. That was quick, let's continue. Midnight. Next to fight are Izumi versus Todoroki. Passan al Fente. As they both walked to the platform, someone was a little thoughtful. Izumi. It's my turn, you'll see Izuku who's the best and you'll see that I'll become a hero. Plus Dad's in the stadium and he'll see what I'm capable of. Midnight. Begin. Izumi. I will finish you and show him that I am better than him, said launching into the attack. Todoroki. Sorry, was the only thing he said to launch a powerful ice attack, freezing a large part of the platform and almost freezing part of the stadium. Jack. Izuku. But what the hell, they both said when they saw the ice so close to them and the rest of the group. Midnight. The winner is Todoroki, said the heroine, shivering from the cold. Fan. She is the daughter of hero number 2, has a terrifying power. Fan 2. I don't want to say anything, but it's likely that she and young Jack will face each other in the final. Fan 3. Yes, it is the safest. In the field. Todoroki. I'm really sorry, but it's his fault. And that's it for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Remember that comments, suggestions, etc. are welcome. We find ourselves at the sports festival where those present have been shocked due to the power displayed by the daughter of Hero 2, Miss Shuka Todoroki. Merlin. Wow, that girl has colossal power. She will be a real problem in the future for any of our children, don't you think so, Inko? The black-haired girl spoke, capturing the green-haired girl's attention. Inko. You're right, she means danger to our children's aspirations, but I know that the two of them will be able to handle the situation, said the green-haired woman with a smile that changed to a shocked face when she saw a green-haired man with a worried face. Hisashi. She can't be my little girl, that brat is a monster, she shouldn't participate, said the green-haired man watching as the bicolor defrosted his daughter. Inko. Wow, who's here? I thought I'd never see you again, she said with annoyance, turning the man around. Hisashi. And what are you doing here? This is no place for losers like you and your son, he said, annoyed and angry, looking at the green-haired girl. Inko. Then you and your daughter have to go since she just lost, she said mockingly, seeing how the green-haired man got angry and walked in her direction. Hisashi. Damn you, how dare you, he tried to hit her but was stopped by Escanor. Escanor. You better calm down. Also, what kind of man are you to try to hit a woman, said the orange-haired man looking seriously at the green-haired man. Hisashi. Let me go too, pointing at Inko. Don't believe yourself so much because as far as I remember your son is a loser, he said angrily and was going to continue talking but Present Mike spoke. Present Mike. Perfect, now that the rink is clear of ice it's time to continue. Midnight. I think the next participants are Shinso versus Izuku. Come forward. Hisashi. Yeah, let's see what you useless bastard can do, he said, turning his back and going to his place. Inko. I'll show you what my son can do, she said angrily. Already in the field. Izuku. Get ready because I will defeat you, he said, putting himself in battle pose. Shinso. Okay, I'll wait for you, he said calmly. Izuku. Don't underestimate me, he said, a little annoyed. Shinso. I don't, he said unfazed, activating his quirks. Izuku. What? The only thing, he said, stopping. Present Mike. What is happening from one moment to the next is the young Midoriya who was heading against him and now has stopped completely. Shinso. Well, turn around and leave the platform, he said while Izuku did what the blue-haired boy said, and I will show that those who make up class are not fit to be heroes, he said simply. Present Mike. Incredible young Midoriya is heading off the platform. In the stands. Uraraka. What happens to Izuku? Tsuyu. I don't know Kiro, but I don't think Izuku is giving up. Hagakure. Whatever it is, do you think Izuku will get out of this? Shoji. It's hard to give a prognosis if you don't know what's going on. Mineta. He's right. Back to the field. Izuku. What's wrong? I can't move my body. Those in class are not fit to be heroes. No, that's a lie. No, I will be a hero. Izumi. Oh, the loser, I want to be a hero, and how are you going to do it? Useless. Katsumi. Deku, you would become a hero. Nen, ha ha ha, what a good joke. Hisashi. Are you really my son? I don't believe it. Surely you are just a bastard because my children are destined for greatness. All Might. I'm sorry, but people like you can't be a hero. I don't deny it. I will become a hero. I will show them. Inko. Izuku, I look forward to the day you become a great hero. Jack. Then it's a promise we become the greatest heroes in history. If it's true, there are still people who believe in me and I will not fail them, freeing himself from Shinso's quirks. Shinso. What is possible as you got rid of my quirks? He said in shock. Izuku. You underestimated me and that was your biggest mistake and you will pay for it, he said it with a determined look. This is your end. Take this, Umbrio Pulse, said the green-haired man, creating a ball of energy between his hands. Present mic. Incredible Izuku recovered at the last second and launched a very powerful attack against Shinso. Midnight. Seeing the smoke generated by the exhibition disperse, the winner is Izuku Midoriya, she said this when she saw Shinso unconscious on the ground. In the stands. Inko. Well done, Izuku, she said while focusing her gaze on her ex-husband who only put on a face of pure anger. Returning to the countryside. Midnight. Let's continue. The next match will be between Lita versus Mei. Here the fight would be the same where Mei would show her babies and then give up. The next match was not something that could be described with words, it was the match of the century Kirishima versus Tetsu. The fight would be the same where the idiots would have beaten each other and in the end the battle of strength where Kirishima won. Present mic. It's time for the last match of the round of 16. Midnight. It's time to reveal the confrontation between Uraraka versus Bakugo. Come forward, Uraraka. Izuku is already in the next round. I will do the same, she said determinedly. Katsumi. I won't let that useless Deku surpass me, she said angrily. Midnight. Begin. In battle it would be similar to the anime, only here Katsumi would be more brutal since it was woman versus woman giving explanations and where Uraraka showing her determination until the end before being defeated by Katsumi. Izuku. You are really brave, Uraraka, and I know you will achieve your dream. Uraraka. Go, I will become a heroine and help my parents. I hope to see that day, thought the green-haired man watching the end of the battle. In another part of the stadium. Katsumi Bakugo, Shuka Todoroki, Jack Bizarius and Izuku Midoriya are the highlights. This will please Shigaraki and the sensei. Present mic. We'll give the competitors a short break and then begin the second round. Izuku. I'm excited, I'll show you what I'm capable of. EHHH, the green-haired man spoke until he was faced with a red-haired man with fire in his body. Endeavor. So you're the best in Class A. And that's it for today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Remember that comments, suggestions, etc. are welcome. We're at the sports festival where there's a short break to make way for the round of battles, but where's our protagonist? Endeavor. So you're the best in Class A, said the redhead looking at Izuku. Izuku. I don't know what he's talking about, the green-haired man spoke with doubt. Endeavor. Don't play dumb, it's more than obvious that you're the most capable, I'm speaking seriously. Izuku. To be the most capable, as he says, he had entered the UA with a recommendation. No, he said calmly, staring at the redhead. Endeavor. Yes, that's a real lie. You and I know that a stupid recommendation is not just a shortcut, he said with annoyance. Izuku. Let's leave that aside, what's the point of this? He said seriously. Endeavor. Not much, I just want you not to be content against my daughter, I want to see her against a real adversary, he said seriously but showed a smile. Izuku. Wow, what a loving father, although to fulfill her wish I would have to face her and I don't know if that would happen, he said seriously, turning around and leaving the place. Endeavor. Oh, I'm sure you'll do it and get him to show his fire, he said triumphantly, and if you manage to defeat her, she will most likely make you her husband, he thought calmly. Present mic. The quarterfinals are about to start. Aizawa, don't fall asleep, I speak with emotion. Aizawa. You could have narrated it yourself, he said while getting up from the ground. Present mic. Don't be lazy and let's get this started. Midnight. Okay, let's start. Who will open the quarterfinals? And it's Lita versus Todoroki, come forward. The two would reach the platform and the battle would be similar to the anime where Lita tried to take him out with her speed, but it would be useless and he would end up being frozen by Todoroki. Midnight. Okay, let's continue. The next match will be between Jack versus Kirishima, come forward. Kirishima. Well, it will be a pleasure to face one of the best in the class, he said with emotion. Jack. It's a pleasure to face you too, he said getting into battle stance. Midnight. Begin. After what Midnight said, the two ran towards each other while Kirishima hardened and Jack covered his hands with energy. Kirishima. Go ahead, Jack. Let's go. After saying this, both began to exchange punches that at first glance neither of them would give any respite, but at any moment. Kirishima. You're not doing anything wrong, he said, smiling without letting his guard down. Jack, you're not doing too bad either, I'm even having fun, he spoke with a big smile. At one point, Kirishima exposed his abdomen and Jack didn't let it go unnoticed, giving him a precise blow, knocking Kirishima down, and before he could react, Jack kicked him with such force that he sent Kirishima off the platform. More or less like this. Midnight. Young Kirishima has been left off the platform, the winner is Jack Bezarius. At one point Jack reached out his hand to Kirishima and he took it. Jack, you're amazing, Kirishima, only 2 have resisted a wave of attacks that I make and now there are 3 with you, he said with a smile. Kirishima, wow, then it's great that you say that and I look forward to the rematch, he said the same thing with a smile and Jack nodded at his request and those present just burst into applause for the show of respect between the competitors. Midnight. Okay, let's move on to the next fight between Izuku versus Ibara. The fight would be a little quick since Ibara would try to take him out with his vines but Izuku defended himself with a fire attack. Izuku, you won't do it, flamethrower. Taking his flame out of his mouth. He burned the vines but Ibara covered himself with a thick wall avoiding danger. Izuku, your wall will be difficult to pass for a normal attack, let's see Shadow Ball. After saying this, he created a ball of darkness in his hands that, when thrown, passed through the vine wall, hitting Ibara, knocking her out instantly. Present mic. I can't believe it, with an attack never seen before Izuku Midoriya defeats the participant Ibara. In the stands, Class D, student. Those in the class really did comply with the favoritism. Class B, Monoma. Damn, the A guys will have the best of the festival. Back to the field, Midnight. Okay, let's go to the last match of the round between Katsumi versus Tokiyami. The battle would be identical to the one in the anime where Bakugo uses the light from the explosions to diminish the dark shadow and thus defeat Tokiyami. Present mic. This concludes the quarterfinals. In the stands. Fan 1. It's obvious that the final is clear. Fan 2. Yes, it's going to happen among the children of professional heroes. On the other hand, Hisashi. Damn, that bastard is still in the competition, he said angrily. Inko. Ha ha ha, what's going through that idiot's head? In the locker room. Izumi. Damn Sniff. I was supposed to be better at Sniff. Because he's still above me, he was just quirkless, she said, unable to stop crying. Izuku. Ha, poor stupid girl, I always admired you but you ruined it. The fans were euphoric as one of the most anticipated rounds was about to begin, the semifinals. Present mic. Okay, it's time to start the semifinals, he said, causing great emotion. In the stands. Wow, this time the participants are very interesting. Question mark question mark question mark. 2. I love that there are such strong boys, I would like to be able to fight with them. Question mark question mark question mark. 3. Guys, I can't even if I try to think that your parents, I can't, I want to go. Back to the field, Midnight. Well, let's see who starts the semifinals. Katsumi Bakugo versus Jack Bezarius, both to the battlefield. So both of them passed onto the platform, one looked calm but the other very angry. Katsumi. I'll defeat you and show that useless Deku that I'm better, Katsumi said, very angry. Jack. Whatever you say, he said calmly and without flinching. Midnight. Begin. After what was said, Katsumi didn't wait a second to launch into her explanations, and with them she tried to hurt Jack, but he just dodged her. More or less like this, only without the Ultra Instinct and more glasses. Present mic. Oh, look how Miss Bakugo doesn't beat around the bush and starts with a range of explosions. A young Bezarius doesn't seem worried in the least. Aizawa. Although Miss Bakugo has great power, her attacks are a little slow and that makes them easy to dodge. In the field, Katsumi. Damn miserable, stop running away, you're pathetic, acting like a coward, she said quite furiously. Jack. Hey Katsumi, you haven't changed at all since we were kids, always reckless and clumsy, when will you learn? He said carefree, dodging the attacks. Katsumi. Ah, how dare you, I'm better than you and I'll prove it, he said, pushing himself with his explanations and performing the attack he used against Tokiyami, hitting Jack. Present mic. Incredible, what a powerful attack by Miss Bakugo. What very few people, or almost no one, noticed as that at the moment of impact Jack's glasses flew off. In the stands, Merlin. This is serious, don't you think so, Escanor, said the woman looking at her husband. Escanor. It seems so, but we can only wait, he said, staring at the battle. Inko. I just hope Bakugo doesn't get hurt too badly, the green-haired girl said. With Class A. Izuku. This is bad, he said seriously looking at the battle. Uraraka. Izuku, what's going on, said the brunette curiously catching the attention of the others. Izuku. The attack that Katsumi made caused Jack's glasses to fly off, he said still seriously. It would be. I don't think it's a problem, or yes, said the flat face. Izuku. That's not the problem, said the green-haired man. Momo. So which one is it? The brunette asked worriedly, although she hid it very well except for a two-tone that captured her companion's tone. Izuku. You see, Jack is the son of Europe's #1 hero, the Lion of Pride, and his name was because when he was young he was extremely proud, hence the name, and his wife created glasses for him that would allow him to erase his pride, Izuku said, revealing that information about his friend. Suyu. So you're saying that Jack is going through the same thing, Kiro, the little frog spoke. Izuku. In fact, he's worse, apart from being arrogant, he becomes cruel and ruthless with his victims, said the green-haired man, causing astonishment in everyone present, and at that moment the smoke dispersed, seeing Jack with a smile. Jack. That's the best you can do, you're so pathetic, he said with a clear tone of arrogance. Present Mike. Impressive young Beezarius is completely unharmed, only his glasses flew off his face. Jack. Well, if it's the best and useless thing you can do, I think it's my turn, he said, moving at high speed and connecting a few blows on Katsumi. Present Mike. This is unheard of, the young Beezarius changed his style, now he is on the offensive and has connected forceful blows to his opponent. Jack. Come on, you were going to beat me, where's all the stupidity you were talking about? He said with a calm look but without losing his smile. Katsumi. Damn, how can I be losing against you? I'm better than you, she said angrily while a small trickle of blood came out of her mouth. Jack. You'll never realize, right? You'll never be better than me, not in a million years. You're not even better than Midoriya, even though he didn't have a quirk. What makes you think you'll beat me? He said seriously while the girl got up with a little difficulty. Katsumi. Shut up, you insolent bastard, how dare you say that I am more than you and that stupid Deku together, and I will prove it. He said, creating the attack he used against Todoroki in the anime, but this time it was different since in Katsumi's previous attack Jack tried to dodge it, but this time he didn't bother to dodge. This time the explosion was so powerful that many thought it had defeated him, but the surprise came when the smoke dispersed. In Class A, Kirishima. Impossible, that attack should have defeated him. Hagakure. It's amazing, I would have died. With the presenters. Present Mike. This is indescribable. Aizawa. I think that's above the level. On the battlefield, Jack was standing and Katsumi was suspended in the air for a simple reason: Jack had stopped the attack with his bare hand. Jack. Pathetic, and that was your greatest attempt, he said, throwing Katsumi to the edge of the platform on the verge of falling. Katsumi. Wow, how did you do that? She said in disbelief at the situation. Jack. I already told you, you'll never be at my level, so apologize for having the audacity to confront me, said the boy, creating an energy sphere with his raised hand. I think it's time to end this, but don't worry, this won't kill you, he said, throwing the sphere at Katsumi, hitting her, knocking her off the platform. Katsumi. I am impossible company. How could I have lost? She said it very weakly while Izumi arrived to help her. Midnight. Katsumi has fallen off the platform. The winner and first runner-up is Jack Beezarius. Jack. That was very easy, he said, leaving the stage, obsessed by the crowd. I'll be waiting for you in the final, old friend, and when we face each other. Glancing sideways at the group and especially at a green-haired man. Izuku. You'll see that I'll make it to the finals and when we face each other. Jack. Izuku. The winner. The stadium where the sporting festival was held was boiling with emotions because in the first semifinal the predictions were correct and the son of the European hero had just demonstrated his power by reaching the final. All that remains is to wait for his opponent. In the corridors of the stadium. Jack. Mother, father, I thought we would see each other until the end of the festival, he spoke with a superb tone. Merlin. That was the plan, but you know very well why we came, he said, taking some glasses out of his bag. Jack. I don't think I'm okay like that. He didn't continue because his father quickly moved behind him and held him immobilized. Escanor. You know it's for your own good, he said while his wife put his glasses back on. Jack. Ed, don't tell me I lost my glasses, right? He said, lowering his head, and his parents nodded. And how many I hurt, he said sadly. Merlin. You just taught Bakugo a lesson to no one, he said without much importance. Escanor. Well, go back to your group, the other semifinal is about to begin, come on, he said with a smile as the three went their way. Back to the field, present Mike. Well, after an incredible semifinal, let's move on to the second fight. Midnight. Well, let the competitors Shuka Todoroki vs Izuku Midoriya pass, said as they both climbed onto the platform. Todoroki. Every time you look like your father, I'm going to fix that. Shuka. No ma, please, it hurts. It was images that passed through his mind. Izuku. I want you to make your true power, those words repeated themselves in his head. Midnight. Begin. As soon as he gave the signal, no one waited and they began. Todoroki. I'll show you what I'm capable of, he said, creating an ice attack. Ignore Izuku with the smash. Izuku. Don't underestimate me, Flare. He said as a large amount of fire came out and took a strange shape and destroyed Todoroki's attack. Todoroki. As I thought you will use fire to stop my ice, but it doesn't matter, he thought as he launched more ice attacks at Izuku. Izuku. Ice beam, he said, launching a blue beam from his mouth, impacting Todoroki's ice blocks, increasing the size of the block but stopping it. Todoroki. But what, she said incredulously. Izuku. Surprised you never imagined I could use ice, well look at G. At that moment sharp ice fragments formed around Izuku and shot out at Shuka. Todoroki. Ah, he complained of pain as he received some polite blows from the ice fragments. In the public endeavor. This brat can use fire and ice, he said annoyed, although this might be good for my plans, even if you win or lose, I will make you my daughter's fiancé, he thought while smiling. Hisashi. Where did this damn brat get this power from? He said annoyed. Back to the field, present Mike. Both students don't beat around the bush and begin with a great exchange of attacks. Todoroki. No. Don't think that, just with that you will defeat me, he said trembling, missing Izuku. In Class A, Momo. This is very close. Mina. It will be difficult to say who wins. Shoji. That's why one is the best in the class and the other got in by recommendation. Izumi. I can't believe Izuku can fight her and I fell so easily against her. Jack. This is strange. Shuka's movements have started to slow down and small patches of ice are appearing on his right side, which is strange and less. In the field, Izuku. It's freezing, he said incredulously at what he had just discovered. Hey Todoroki, why don't you use your left side, he said mockingly. Todoroki. I will never use my father's damn side, he said angrily. Izuku. Then you're a liar, he said seriously. Todoroki. What are you talking about, she said even more angrily. Izuku. You said you would beat me, that you would prove to be better than me, and this is boring me. I thought you would put up more of a fight, he said coldly. Todoroki. You don't know what I've been through because of that bastard, he said seriously while an image passed in his mind where he saw his brothers playing but his father didn't allow him to get close. Izuku. Do you really think that's pain? At least you had his attention, you didn't suffer his abandonment, his contempt, and that he believes you are the culprit of the collapse of your family and treats you like garbage, the worst scum on this planet, he said angrily. Todoroki. You also suffered for your father, he said haltingly. Izuku. Yes, but I knew how to overcome the pain and it's time for you to do it and show your true power. Todoroki. Shuka, you are the only one who decides what you truly want to be without anyone choosing for you. Those words spoken by a woman passed through his mind. I want to be a hero, he said as something happened to his face. At that moment, fire began to emanate from Shuka's left side. Shuka. I will become the greatest hero, she said while unfreezing her amazing body. Elsewhere, Lita. I use my left side. Hisashi. He can also use fire. All Might. Young Midoriya managed to accept himself as he is. Jack. You're amazing, Izuku. You always like challenges, but this surpasses any of your madness. Endeavor. Shuka. It's finally time for you to follow my wish and become someone who surpasses All Might. Present Mike. That's a very loving father supporting his daughter, or so I think. Izuku. Let's go all out rain dance, he said as the sky began to rain. Present Mike. Incredible, young Midoriya has brought the rain. Aizawa. This was done to decrease fire-type attacks. Thinking. Todoroki. You won't beat me, he said using both halves. Izuku. Same here, while launching himself at Todoroki. Todoroki. Thank you Midoriya for teaching me what I am, but blame me if you get hurt, as he raised his hand. Midnight. Cementos, this is bad, said activating his quirk. Cements. This is going to end very badly. Izuku. Giga Impacto. At that moment a huge explosion occurred, surprising everyone. Present Mike. That was intense. What the hell is going on with your class? Aizawa. The air froze and when heated it expanded. Present Mike. That created the explosion. On the field, the smoke generated by the explosion dispersed, where Izuku could be seen standing and Shuka on the ground. Midnight. Todoroki can't continue. Izuku. Midoriya is the winner. Present Mike. Midoriya is the winner after a great battle and the final is ready. Izuku Midoriya vs Jack Bezarius. We are at the sports festival where an unparalleled battle between Izuku and Todoroki has just taken place, giving Izuku the victory and advancing to the finals. Midnight. The winner is Izuku Midoriya. Elsewhere in the stadium. Endeavor. Wow, that Brad beat Shuka but he made him use his fire. I think I already have a son-in-law, he said with a serious look. Hisashi. It can't be like that damn bastard got so far, said the green-haired man furiously. Merlin. I think the moment of truth has arrived, don't you think so Inko, said the woman looking at her friend. Inko. That's right, it's time to see who is the best, she said smiling while manifesting her aura just like her friend. Escanor. Whispering, why don't you fight among yourselves instead of getting the kids involved in this, the orange-haired boy said discreetly. Merlin. You said something my love, he said with a calm smile but with a sinister tone. Escanor. No I didn't say anything he, the man said nervously. In Class A, Uraraka. Wow, that was amazing, I can't believe the level they have. Suyu. They do have a terrifying power. Kiro. Tokiyami. That makes it clear why they are considered among the best in the class. Mina. That's true, but what will happen when the two best face each other? Momo. It's true, the final is Izuku vs Jack. Bu. She didn't continue because she saw that Jack was no longer there. Back to the field. Todoroki say Iba reincorporating slowly. Izuku. Calm down, don't push yourself too hard, he said, helping her get up and leave the field. Todoroki. Why are you helping me, she said tiredly. Izuku. Well, because I like to help people and because of the respect I have for you for the great battle we had, he said showing a smile, but he didn't notice that Shuka blushed. After helping her, he took a break so Izuku could regain his strength and be ready. Present Mike. Well, after that break, let the two finalists come in, he said, making those present explode with joy. Midnight. We are about to begin the grand finale between Izuku Midoriya vs Jack Bezarius. The two walked onto the dance floor, but in both of their minds came memories of their childhood. Flashback. We can see two 6-year-old children playing together. Jack. Izuku, do you really promise me that you will become a hero? Said the little black-haired boy. Izuku. If I promise and I become the #1 hero, I will surpass All Might, said the green-haired boy smiling. Jack. That joke, you'll be a hero but I'll be #1, he said mockingly. Finn flashback. Izuku. The time to show. Jack. Who is the best? Izuku. Jack. It has arrived. Midnight. Everyone is ready, said the heroine making the whole stadium scream. Jack, are you ready? Jack. Let's see who is the strongest. Izuku said putting himself in battle pose. Midnight. Izuku is ready. Izuku. And who will be the next #1 hero, also putting himself in battle pose. Midnight. Ready in 3, 2.1. YA. Izuku. Fire punch and ice punch, said the green-haired man covering his left arm in flames and his right arm in ice. Jack. I won't be left behind, he said, covering his arms in energy. Thus began the battle with a high-speed exchange of blows. At one point they both separated. Izuku. Shadow ball, he said, throwing a dark dough ball. Jack. I won't allow it, he said, launching a burst of energy. Present mic. The fight has just begun with everything. Izuku. Fury Dragon. Jack. Omega Blaster. The impact of the attacks left great destruction in the countryside. Izuku. This is getting fun. Let's go for it, he said, taking a big jump, preparing his attack in the sky. Bold bird. Present mic. Impressive. Midoriya rose into the air to cover himself with flames or something like that and dives against the young Beezarius. Jack. When will you learn that cats eat birds? Big cat, he said, summoning a huge panther. At that moment Izuku was stopped by Jack and thrown away. Aizawa. It seems the food chain prevails in this round. Izuku. Triple attack. Jack. Final flash. This time the collision of powers was so much greater that both were left flush with the platform. Izuku. Manto Dragon. Jack. Energy Mantle. Geo, creating a mantle of pure energy around him. They both shot towards each other, their fists colliding. Within seconds, another exchange of blows took place. In the stands, Todoroki. Already recovered, I can't believe it. I was just a game to him, now he's really trying hard, she said, looking at the fist bump. He asked me if we could be a couple in the future. The bicolor thought with a blush on her face. Momo. I never thought that behind that smile Jack was so powerful, she said it without taking her eyes off the black-haired man. Back to battle. Izuku. Aw, Thunder Fist. Jack. Pwag, he said, receiving the attack and shooting out. Izuku. What did you think of that? He said, looking at his partner on the ground. Jack. Very good, but this is better, he said, disappearing in a movement, appearing behind Izuku. Gallic Cannon. Izuku received the attack, sending him to the ground, but Jack also fell to his knees. Izuku. What's wrong? No. Don't tell me you're already tired, said the green-haired man with heaviness in his voice, standing up. Jack. No, because you're already tired, he said, getting back up. Izuku. No, and if you're not, let's continue, he said, looking at his friend. Jack. I wouldn't disagree with you more, he said, cracking his knuckles. Izuku. Well, but this is no longer necessary, he said, tearing off his shirt, showing his abdomen, making many women blush, especially a bicolor one. Jack. I think the same, he said, imitating his friend, making a brunette blush and causing nosebleeds to most people because of the two hotties in the country. Izuku. Sharp leaf. Jack. Sword. They both began to fight in a brutal sword fight or something similar. Izuku. Let's see if you received this mega water shuriken, he said, creating a gigantic shuriken. Jack. You won't beat me, take this. Cruel son, he said, creating a ball of energy and throwing it against the shuriken. Both attacks collided categorically, so that after the smoke dispersed, only pieces of the platform they were standing on remained. Jack. Let's finish this. The black-haired boy shouted as he covered himself in a cloak of energy and shot towards Izuku. Something like that, Izuku. I won't give up either. He screamed in the same way, emitting a large amount of fire. Izuku. Bombardment, he said, covering himself in flames and shooting towards Jack. This crash was much bigger than the rest, even cement created a barrier around the people to protect them. Present mic. Incredible, the winner is. Present mic. It's incredible, the winner is. The smoke dispersed on the field, revealing a sand that had been destroyed by the battle, and both competitors were standing with their backs to each other on the opposite side to where they were before the clash. Congratulations, my friend, you surpassed your limits before me. Thanks, you also put up a great fight. At that moment Jack would fall to the floor defeated. More or less like this. Midnight. Jack Beezarius can't continue. The winner and champion of the festival is Izuku Midoriya. The heroine shouted, causing euphoria in everyone present. Elsewhere. Uraraka. Incredible Izuku Gano, she said excitedly. Shoji. It's the best battle I've ever seen in my life. Momo. There is no doubt that both of them will be great heroes, he said a little sadly. Todoroki. Izuku, you are incredible, you proved to be the best, he said while other somewhat crazy ideas passed through his mind. Izumi. I can't believe he won, she said in shock. Katsumi. It can't be how he won, she said angrily. In another area, Inko. Yes, you won, Izuku, said the green-haired girl trying not to cry. Merlin. I admit it, Izuku is the winner, said the woman calmly, hugging her friend. Skinner. You gave your best and no matter that you wore your glasses you fought with honor until the end, you made me feel proud, my son. He thought calmly looking at the stage. Hisashi. Damn brat like said the green-haired boy angrily. Endeavor. You will be a great son-in-law and you will give me powerful grandchildren, said hero number 2 with pride. Back to the field, Izuku. I won, I did it, I'm the best, he said raising his fist with his smile. Jack, he said turning to see his friend going to help him. Jack. Don't worry, I'm fine, he said, standing up with difficulty. Izuku. You never change friend, thanks for the great battle, he said with his smile while stretching out his hand. Jack. Yeah, sure, buddy. At that moment they shook hands and hugged, causing a standing ovation from the audience. Jack. Congratulations Izuku, you proved that a quirkless can become the best, he said in his ear while continuing to hug Izuku. After that brief moment, Jack left the arena to applause, leaving the glory to the green-haired man. Present Mike. Well, we'll take a short break to repair the sand. In the tunnels, Merlin. Wow, I never imagined the level you're at with Izuku, he said, looking at his son. Jack. Hi mom, hee, did you like the show, he said smiling. Escanor. We liked it but you also made us proud, the man said with a smile while patting his son on the back. Through that same tunnel Inko appeared to wait for Izuku, who was not long in appearing. Izuku. Hello ma, hello Mr. and Mrs. Bizarius. He didn't continue because he was attacked by his mother. Inko. Hey Izuku, you don't know how proud I feel, sniff, I can't believe how strong you've become, sniff, said the green-haired girl with her typical cascade of tears. Izuku. Don't cry, mom, said the green-haired boy, calming his mother. Inko. You're right, I should be happy, said the woman wiping her tears. Although Izuku is here, said the green-haired woman with a more serious tone, changing the green-haired man's gaze. Izuku. And what is that damn wretch doing here? The boy said angrily. Jack. Izuku, calm down, he probably came to see his little princess and right now he must be furious to see that you won, said the black-haired man mockingly. Izuku. You're right, I can imagine his face when he saw the little girl lose in the first round, said the green-haired boy happily. At that moment the voice of Present Mike became present. Present Mike. Well, the arena is ready to go. The festival awards ceremony is over. I asked the 2 finalists of the tournament and for points collected, third place, Miss Shuka Todoroki. At that moment the 3 went to the arena and went to their places where it would be similar to the anime where All Might would make an appearance handing out the medals, where Izuku did not take off his cold gaze at the moment All Might placed the medal on him. In another place away from the event in a bar, Shigaraki. So you are the famous hero killer, aren't you? Said the one with the hands, seeing a man in a strange suit. Stain. So that's what you want from me, said the killer looking at Shigaraki. Shigaraki. I want you to join the League of Villains, said the blue-haired man calmly. Stain. Tempting, but who won, said the man playing with his knife. Shigaraki. You will have great benefits and you will be able to be closer to your dream, said the blue-haired man with a big smile. Stain. Okay, I accept. Time skip 2 days. 2 days have passed, during which time was given to the youth, and Izuku was also recognized by the media for his triumph in the sports festival. Now we find ourselves in a new day at the UA where great news will be given to you. Aizawa. Good morning, today I will tell you something important, and that is that several hero agencies will be looking for you to be able to do your professional internships, said the black-haired man, causing excitement in the young people. Juro. Great, this is a great opportunity to show your abilities to the professional heroes, the purple-haired girl said with interest. Kaminari. That will help us continue on our path as heroes, Pikachu said excitedly. Aizawa. Well, it also remains to be said that they must do something essential before carrying out their practices, and that is to choose their hero name, he said as if it were nothing. Our name of heroes. The entire Class A was surprised and excited by the great news. Our names, they said, raising their hands. Aizawa. Activating his quirk, that's right. Be quiet and take a seat, he said seriously, for this the class will be taught by her, he said pointing to a woman in a dominatrix outfit. Midnight. Okay guys, like the teacher said, I'll give the class where you'll choose your hero's name. This is essential since it's a fundamental part of being recognized as a good hero in the future. In addition, a striking name will cause more attention in people, said the heroine while moving seductively. Well, on your desks you have a blackboard and a marker. Here you can write your names. When you have it ready, you'll come to the front. Well, you have 5 minutes. Start, said the woman while the boys concentrated on the name. Izuku. It's a pretty difficult decision, but I think I've got it, he said while smiling and watching everyone or most of them rack their brains to choose their name, but a certain bicolor caught his attention for a simple reason. He didn't do anything. Todoroki. You're done, he said amicably, although he expected a cold and quick response from the bicolor. Todoroki. No, I can't think of anything, said the winter with a somewhat friendly tone, but it didn't prevent Izuku from falling to the floor because of her answer. Izuku. Really well, your quirk opens up a range of possibilities, names you could use, said Izuku putting a finger on his chin. Todoroki. Like what? The girl asked with interest. Izuku. Well, an example would be burning cold or freezing heat, the green-haired man spoke, causing the girl to open her eyes a little. Todoroki. Thank you, said the bicolor, causing confusion in the green-haired man. Izuku. Because, he said coming out of his confusion. Todoroki. Well, you gave me an idea for my name, she said calmly but showing a smile, which surprised the boy since he had never seen her smile. After that, time passed. Midnight. Well, time's up, let's see your names. Who's first, she said with a smile while a green-haired girl raised her hand. Okay Miss Asui, go ahead, she said while the frog girl got in front. Suyu. Well, based on my quirk my name is Froppy, said the green-haired girl with a smile. Midnight. Wow, that is an excellent, fantastic name Miss Asui, she said with a smile while the whole class applauded for her friend. Well, who's next, she said while a pink-haired woman raised her hand. Mina. Well, I chose Alien Queen, she said enthusiastically. Midnight. Well, that wouldn't be right because the alien character is a monster, said the woman while the girl understood, returning to her place. Who else, she said giving the ashes turn. Katsumi. Queen of the Killer Explosion, said with her typical attitude. Midnight. That's not correct, he said heavily. Well, let's continue, that's how they started to happen. For this I will do it in list form, only Suyu is missing. 1 Can't Stop Twinkling, Aoyama. 2 Pinky, Mina. 3 Tenya, Lita, name changed later. 4 Gravity, Uraraka. 5 Tailman, Ojiro. 6 Chargerbolt, Kaminari. 7 Red Riot, Kirishima. 8 Tentacle, Shoji. 9 Earphone Jack, Juro. 10 Cellophane, it would be. 11 Tsukuyomi, Tokiyami. 12 Invisible Girl, Hagakure. 13 Grape Juice, Mineta. 14 Kriti, Momo. 15 No One Accepts It, Katsumi. 16 Whirlwind, Izumi. 17 Queen of the Fire Cold, Todoroki. This name was chosen based on Izuku's opinion. 18 Night of Light, Jack. 19 Arceus, Izuku. Midnight. Wow, those names are incredible, except for a few exceptions, she said, turning to look at Katsumi. Aizawa. Well, time's up, you'll have free time to choose your agencies, said Mama Caterpillar coming out of her sleeping bag. Meanwhile, in an alley of the city. Stain. How funny is this, said the hero killer mockingly while he had a person in front of him. Person. Please don't hurt me, I beg you, the person said crying. Stain. Oh really? Well, he didn't finish because a man interrupted him. Stop, there is a villain, I will not let you hurt the innocent, said a man with a suit similar to that of a boy with glasses from UA. Stain. And who are you? He said seriously looking at the person. My name is Ingenium and get ready, he said launching into the attack. Stain. Well, We'll see, he said, imitating him. Back to the academy. Uraraka. Izuku, have you already decided which agency you will take? She said, looking at the green-haired boy while a two-colored girl got annoyed by the proximity of the brunette. Izuku. Well, I haven't decided yet, and you guys, he said normally. Uraraka. I already chose one with financial support, she said with a big smile. Jack. I chose one where Dad's friend is the owner, he said calmly. Lita. I chose one where it is. I didn't finish because someone opened the door. Cementos. Excuse me, where is student Tenya? Lita. The hero said normally. Lita. It's me. Who's happening? The blue-haired man spoke with intrigue. Cementos. It's about your brother who was in the hospital, he said, staring at the boy. In the hospital. An upset blue-haired boy arrived at the hospital and found his brother's room next to the doctor's. Lita. Doctor, what happened to my brother? He said anxiously, looking at how the doctor looked down. Doctor. Young Tenya, your brother had a confrontation against the hero killer and unfortunately suffered serious injuries and worst of all, mobility in his legs. I regret to say this, but your brother will never be a hero again, he said, leaving the boy in shock. Lita. No. We met at the city hospital where Lita had just received the news that her brother would never be a hero again. Lita. No, doctor, how is it possible? How is it that my brother can't be a hero? She said sadly and nervously because of what was said. Doctor. I'm afraid so, because the injuries caused were to her spine, taking away the mobility of her legs, said the doc, leaving Lita speechless. Lita. Who remained silent for a few seconds. Doctor, can I come see you? She said, head bowed. Doctor. Of course, said the doctor, taking a step to the side. After that, Tenya went to see his brother, who was in bed connected to different machines but conscious. Tenya. Hey, hello brother, said the boy dejected when he saw his brother. Tensai. Hello brother, I see you came, said the eldest Lita, seeing the state of his brother. Why do you have that face? I know this is wrong, but don't worry, this will never stop me. Even if I can't walk, you will never see me fall, said the man, showing a smile to his younger brother. Tenya. I know, brother, you never give up, he said, smiling but without removing the sadness from his face. Tensai. I'm glad you understand, and that's why I want you to do me a favor, said the older one with a calm look. Tenya. What thing? Asked the minor. Tensai. I want you to continue with the legacy of Ingenium, said the man, leaving in shock. Tenya. No, I can't, that's your hero name, he said in shock at his brother's request. Tensai. Yes, I know, but I can no longer finish that profession, that's why I want you to continue it. Please, I know you'll do well, he said, looking at his little brother. Tenya. Okay, I'll do it, he said with determination, causing a big smile on his brother's face. At school, principal's office. Nezu. Let me see, young Lita wants to change his name from Hero to Ingenium, said the animal calmly while drinking a cup of tea. Lita. That's right, Mr. Director, said the blue-haired man while making a small bow. Nezu. Okay, I'll do it, he said, moving to a computer. Lita. Thank you very much, she said, leaving the place. Outside the school, Aizawa. Okay guys, this bus will take you to the center of the city. From there each one will have to head to their respective agency to do their practices. You will also have an alarm on your cell phone if you are in danger. Understood, said the black-haired man as he took out his sleeping bag and got into it. So they all got on the truck with their suitcases and then went to their agency. Uraraka. Hey Izuku, don't you think Lita is acting weird? Said the brunette, looking at the blue-haired girl from a distance. Izuku. Yes, since that day since Professor Cement called him, he has acted differently, said the green-haired man, analyzing the situation. After that, everyone went their separate ways. Well, not everyone. Todoroki. What are you doing here? The bicolor spoke, confused upon seeing our protagonist in front of her father's agency. Izuku. Well, that's time. He didn't continue because the bicolor spoke to him. Todoroki. Midoriya, what are you doing here? The girl asked doubtfully. Izuku. Ah, hello Todoroki, you also chose this agency, said the green-haired man until something came to his mind. I'm an idiot. How could he not choose this one if the owner is his father? The boy thought while lamenting his stupidity. Todoroki. Yes, but what is surprising is that you have chosen this one. The bicolor spoke, but inside she was happy to be near the green-haired man. Izuku. Yes, well, I checked out the offers and the one here was the one that convinced me, he said with his typical smile, making the bicolor girl blush. Todoroki. I see what you think. If we go in, said the girl, trying to hide her blush. Elsewhere. Izumi. Ah, he's dead, she said when she saw a man on the ground with a red stain. I'm alive, said the man, getting up from the ground. Izumi. Ah, he's alive. Elsewhere. Lita was at her brother's agency, but for now we won't talk about him since he's just looking for revenge. Elsewhere. Jack. Well, I'm here now, he said, entering a building where he was greeted by a peculiar person. Sat, look who's here, little Jack, look how much you've grown, said a short blonde. Jack. Hello, Uncle Meliodas. Note Jack calls him uncle for knowing him since he was a child. I would like to say the same, but you don't grow up, said the black-haired man calmly. Meliodas. Haha, very funny, but I'm glad you chose my agency, so get changed, it's time to start, said the blonde while Jack nodded. And you're not going to greet me, said a beautiful woman with white hair and blue eyes. Jack. I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Aunt Elizabeth, said the black-haired man, hugging his aunt. So with all the students, the boy with testicles being Mount Lady's maid, Momo with Kendo as models with the snake hero, Jiro helping the muscular hero, Katsumi at the McThompson Pants agency, I don't know her name, Kirishima with his counterpart from Class B, Suyu with the hero who looks like a sea lion, etc. So one night when Lita and her partner were walking the streets, they heard a person asking for help in an alley, and without hesitation they both went quickly, but before they could react, some knives attacked Lita's partner, causing serious injuries and leaving him out of combat. Lita. Show me, damn it, she said, looking everywhere. Stain. I'm up here, said a voice at the top of the alley. Lita. Who are you? Said the boy when he saw the man jump and stand in front of him. Stain. Wait, didn't I kill you recently? Said the man, looking closely at Lita. Lita. You were the bastard who did that to my brother, she said, extremely upset. Stain. He was your brother, haha, it really hurts, but I'll do a double with you, he said, taking out his knife. Lita. You'll see. Ingenium is the name of the hero who defeats you. Izuku. Well, I'm leaving Mr. Endeavor, said the boy, leaving the redhead's agency. Endeavor. That guy is pretty good, he said with a smile, watching the green-haired boy walk away. Shuka. Your smiling is weird, she said, about to leave, but was stopped by her father. Endeavor. You like him, right? He said, crossing his arms, watching the bicolor girl blush. Shuka. Blushing, what are you talking about? She said extremely nervously. Endeavor. Wow, I think I was right, he said, staying calm. Shuka. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, a little annoyed but couldn't stop blushing. Endeavor. Well, as you know, we are very rooted in our culture, and in it we must choose someone like you, fiancé, and for me the best candidate is Izuku, he said as if nothing was wrong, leaving the bicolor in shock. Shuka. And why do you think that? She said, annoyed because she thought he did it to have strong grandchildren, although she didn't dislike the idea. Endeavor. It's very simple. It's the only person with whom you show yourself as you really are and not cold like with the others, he said calmly and without getting upset, leaving the girl surprised. Back with Lita. Lita. Ingenium is the name of the hero who will defeat you, she said, activating her quirk and launching herself at him. Lita tried to connect a blow to Stain, but it was very easy for him to dodge his attacks, and he connected a kick on Lita, making him retreat a couple of meters. Stain. Do you really think you can defeat me? Don't make me laugh. You're much slower than your brother, and you can see how I ended up, the hero killer said mockingly. Lita. Damn you, you'll regret what you did, she said, starting to perform a series of blows but not very focused on the objective. Stain. Wow, you are so funny, but sadly that won't work against me. He said, slashing with his sword, causing a wound on Lita. Lita. That's the best you have, he said, wiping the blood from the wound, but was confused when he saw Stain smile. Stain. Don't you realize that's all I need? He said mockingly. Lita. What the hell are you talking about? She said without understanding what was happening. Stain. I mean this, he said, showing his sword with blood and the blade. Lita. But what? She didn't continue because she suddenly fell to the ground. Stain. Ha 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 ha, you haven't noticed, right? My quirk allows me to immobilize my opponents just by tasting a little of their blood, he said without stopping laughing. Lita. This can't be possible, she said in shock. Stain. Hee hee, two brothers and both fall so easily, they are pathetic. I didn't continue because of a voice followed by an attack that he managed to dodge. Hyper Beam, said the voice, launching a powerful attack. Stain. Who are you? The killer asked, looking in the direction of the attack where only footsteps could be heard. Izuku. Lita, the teacher will get mad at you for not activating the danger alarm, said a green-haired man who came out of the shadows. Lita. Izuku, she said, surprised to see the green-haired boy. Izuku. Hey, you don't seem okay, do you? He said, standing next to the blue-haired man who was on the ground. Lita. Don't get involved, this is my fight. He was the one who ended my brother's hero career, so I have to kill him, he said, completely furious. Izuku. You're a huge idiot, he said, slapping the blue-haired man. Lita. Why do you say that? She said in shock. Izuku. Getting up without taking his eyes off the assassin. Well, it's very easy. Your brother left his legacy in you, and by seeking stupid revenge you will ruin everything. How would your brother feel? The green-haired man said seriously. Lita. It's true, the priority is to do the right thing as a hero instead of seeking revenge, he said, coming to his senses. Izuku, please help me defeat him. His quirk allows him to immobilize his rival by tasting his blood, the boy said seriously while he remained on the ground. Izuku. Thanks for the information, so let's start with this double team dance, he said, making his clones appear. Stain. Do you think your cheap trick will work against me? He said, gaining height. Izuku. Do you think it's all sandstorm? He said, creating a curtain of sand that covered the area with minimal visibility. Stain. Tisk, I admit this has gotten interesting, he said, trying to find the point where they were going to attack him. Izuku. Shadow Ball. He said, launching his attack, hitting Stain because the attack was through a blind spot. The attack left Stain inside the storm with no visibility. Izuku. Volt Tackle, he said, covering himself with energy. At that moment, Stain was hit by Izuku repeatedly, where he could do nothing to defend himself and fell defeated. Stain. I am impossible company. How could I lose, he said, hurt. Izuku. Well, it's easy to fool you with multiple objectives, and by removing your vision your opportunities become almost null, he said calmly while Lita stood up. Stain. This shouldn't be like this, he said, very annoyed. Izuku. What are you talking about? He said, confused. Stain. I had to take care of all the false heroes, those heroes who only seek fame or money and who do not care about the innocent in the least, and when I got it I could be arrested by the only true hero, All Might, he said, leaving the boys surprised. Lita. Do you really see the other heroes like that? She said, coming out of amazement. Izuku. You're wrong, that man isn't a hero either, he said dryly, surprising Lita and Stain himself. Stain. What are you talking about? He said, annoyed. Izuku. What am I talking about? He's a fake who, when no one is looking, doesn't care about others in the slightest and only destroys your dreams without caring about your feelings, he said furiously, clenching his fists. Lita. Izu. Couldn't speak because Izuku interrupted him. Izuku. Lita, he is already defeated, so my work here is over, he said as he left the place. Lita. Whispering. Izuku, what happened to you? She said while watching the green-haired boy leave. A little far from the place. Izuku. All Might, the only hero who is a vile lie, he is just a damn faker. We find ourselves back at the UA where our protagonist and his classmates were returning after their internship. Suyu. Girls, how was your practice, Kiro? Said the frog with a smile. Hagakuri. Well, for me it was very funny, she said with her typical attitude. Momo. Mine were so-so, said the black-haired girl with a forced smile, remembering what she did in her practices. Suyu. How's your Uraraka? She said, looking at the brunette in disbelief. Uraraka. It was good, she said with her eyes rolled back, giving off a gloomy aura. All the girls. What happened to him? they all said in unison. Katsumi. Damn, my hair won't go back to normal, she said, frustrated for not having her hair like before. Izumi. Forget it, in a couple of days it will return to normal, discover. She couldn't finish because she saw a certain green-haired man enter who was talking very comfortably with a certain bicolor woman. Izuku. So your dad took the reward for capturing Stain, the green-haired man said with intrigue. Shuka. That's right, and he told me to go and give you part of it for defeating him, she said calmly as they both passed in front of the green-haired girl. Izumi. Because it hurts me to see him like this with her, the sad girl thought. Aizawa. Very well, everyone passed their practices without any problems, he said with his typical macabre smile. Everyone celebrated what their teacher said, but they were stopped by him when he activated his quirk. Aizawa. But this doesn't end here, I also have two pieces of news. The first is that they will have an excursion, he said seriously while the boys tried to calm their excitement. Lita. And what would be the second one, Professor? He said intrigued, making the others get serious. Aizawa. Well, the second news is that in order to go on that trip you must pass the final exam, but I will give you the details, he said with a big smile that made everyone cold. After classes. Aizawa. You can come in, he said looking at the door, leaving the boys confused. At that moment the door opened, revealing most of the UA professors including the principal. Izuku. Excuse me, Professor, because most of the other teachers are here, he said seriously because of the presence of a certain blonde. Aizawa. Well, that's because this is what your final exam is based on, he said with a big smile. Izumi. Really, said the green-haired girl in amazement. Aizawa. Well, your exam will be a confrontation against us, he said, leaving all the students stunned. Everyone. What? They all said in astonishment. Lita. A.W. What do you mean, Professor? She said, coming out of shock. Aizawa. In this exam, as I said, you will face us in pairs, and in this dome are the names of the students with the lowest performance throughout the cycle but joining it with their participation in the sports festival, and the rest are the best and will take a roll to see who their partner, he said seriously. All Might. Well, the first is young Midoriya, he said pointing at the green-haired boy, and he just got serious and walked to the dome. Izuku. Looking at the paper and making a face of disgust. Katsumi Bakugo, said coldly while Ash looked at him. All Might. By the way, I'm his rival, he said, leaving both of them surprised. Present Mike. Next up is Jack Bezarius, he said as the black-haired man nodded. Jack. My partner is Kyoka Jiru, he said looking at the purple-haired girl who just nodded. Present Mike. They will face me well, he said with his attitude. Eraserhead. Next is Todoroki, said as the bicolor passed. Todoroki. It's Momo Yaoyorozu, he said in surprise. Note Momo went downstairs because of the sports festival. Nezu. Let's continue, Ashido will pass, he said enthusiastically. Mina. Kaminari, she said cheerfully looking at the blonde. Ectoplasm. Well, the next one to pass is Tokiyami, he said while passing the bat. Tokiyami. Asui, he said seriously while the frog swallowed saliva. 13. Let's go Uraraka, she said happily looking at the brunette. Uraraka. It's Aoyama, she said while the blonde nodded. Midnight. It's Zero's shift, said with a sexy tone. Zero. It was my turn. Mineta, said depressed. Midnight. Hee, it was very easy for me, the dominatrix thought. Powerloader. It's Tenya Lita's turn, he said calmly. Lita. Good as Ojiro, she said while the one in the tail nodded with a smile. Cements. Next is Kirishima, said the human block. Kirishima. It's Izumi, he said with charisma. Senior. Then my opponents are Hagakure and Shoji, he said seriously. Aizawa. Prepare yourselves because this is going to be hell. We are at the UA 2 days after the news broke that the students of Class A will confront the teachers, and today is the day. Aizawa. Well, in this exam you will win in two ways depending on the teacher you have. One is to leave the area through a door that will be guarded by the teacher, and the other will be by placing handcuffs on the teacher, which will mean his defeat. Do you understand? He said with his typical attitude. Everyone. Yes, they all said in unison, most of them nervously. Aizawa. Well, let's start, The first ones will be Izuku Midoriya and Katsumi Bakugo. Go to your area, said the black-haired man looking at both of them. Uraraka. Good luck Izuku, said the brunette with a smile. Jack. Show him your power, he said calmly. Izuku. I will, he said with a big smile. After that they both left for their area, which was a desolate city. Katsumi. Hey damn Deku, you better not get in my way, he said with annoyance in his voice that turned into anger because the green-haired boy wasn't paying attention to him. Izuku. The time has come to put you in your place, number one hero, the green-haired man thought with a cold look in his eyes. At that moment an alarm sounded, causing the boys to rush towards the exit. While on the way out, All Might. Wow, these wristbands reduce my power quite a bit. I hope that doesn't prevent young Midoriya from showing his abilities and being able to see if he is a worthy heir, he said with a smile looking into the distance at both young men. Both boys came quickly, one using one of his abilities and the other propelling herself with her explosions, but they were stopped by the appearance of a certain blonde. All Might. Hey guys, let's see what you have. He didn't finish because he had to dodge a flaming fist. Katsumi. But when it moved, I thought, surprised by the green-haired man's speed. Izuku. Come on, show me what you've got All Might, he said angrily while throwing punches with his arms on fire and with electricity. All Might. But what happens because he attacks so aggressively? Said the blonde, confused by the situation. Izuku. Let's go Hyper Beam, he said launching his attack from his mouth. All Might. I must answer otherwise this will end badly, he thought raising his fist. Detroit SMASHHHHHHH, he said colliding his fist with Izuku's attack. The collision was strong enough to destroy several buildings around it. All Might. This is incredible, his attack matched my reduced strength yet not many could match me, the man thought as he looked straight at the green-haired man who didn't leave his lineage serious. At that moment All Might was about to continue but was surprised by an explosion from Katsumi that appeared on his left side. Katsumi. Don't forget my All Might, he said with a sadistic attitude that vanished when he saw the blonde as if nothing had happened. All Might. It was a good attack, he said with a few scratches on his face. Katsumi. But calm, she didn't finish when she received a blow from the blonde who sent her crashing against a wall. All Might. Why didn't he attack when he was distracted, he said looking at the green-haired man who hadn't moved from his place. At that moment Izuku disappeared from his sight, appearing above him ready to connect his attack. Izuku. Giga Impact, he said, covering himself with energy, hitting the blonde directly and leaving a crater. In the observation room, everyone present was stunned to see how Izuku was single-handedly battling the number one hero. Jack. Izuku, concentrate, you're in an exam, don't put your emotions first, he thought as he watched his friend mercilessly attack the blonde. Back to the battlefield, Izuku moved away a little from where All Might was. All Might. Damn, that hit hurt me, thought the hero wiping away some of the blood that was dripping from his mouth. Izuku. Get out of there, I don't think that was enough to defeat you, said the boy coldly. A few seconds later, All Might emerged from the crater with his typical smile, but he couldn't say a single word because the green-haired man began to give him a combination of blows. Izuku. Tell me All Might, tell me how it feels, tell me, said the green-haired boy with a bit of madness in his voice. All Might. What are you talking about? He said without understanding the situation while holding back the boy's blows. Izuku. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? I'm talking about how it feels that the boy who broke his dreams is beating you up. Dragon Fury, he said, annoyed, launching his attack, creating a large cloud of dust blocking visibility for the spectators and Katsumi. Izuku. I admired you, I loved you, I dreamed of being like you and you destroyed my dreams, said the green-haired boy shedding tears. All Might. Midoriya. He didn't finish speaking because Izuku stopped him. Izuku. Shut up, I don't want to hear you. I don't want your stupid hero sermons, he said angrily and without avoiding shedding tears. At that moment Izuku covered his arm with electricity, connecting a strong blow to All Might's face, who did not move to dodge it. All Might. I'm sorry, he said with sadness in his voice. Izuku. It doesn't matter anymore, he said simply. All Might. I didn't know my words would affect you so much. I just wanted to protect you, prevent you from putting yourself at risk, he said with his head bowed. Izuku. What he said confused as he didn't understand. All Might. I did it to protect you since there have been cases where quirkless tried to be heroes and lost their lives, and I didn't want you to go through the same thing, and I'm sorry for hurting you, he said with his head down. Izuku. He didn't know what to say. Now he saw that his hero never wanted to hurt him. All Might, he shouted, getting the blonde's attention. All Might. What's wrong? He said looking at the boys. Izuku. With a smile, let's have a formidable fight. We met at the battlefield for the boys' exams to be able to go to a camp, and just now the match between All Might versus Izuku and Katsumi was taking place, where the fight was centered between Izuku and All Might. The latter had already explained the reason why he told Izuku that he could not be a hero, and now Izuku's admiration for the blonde had returned. Izuku. Let's go All Might with everything, he said with a big smile. All Might. Go ahead Midoriya Shonen, he said, running against each other. Nezu. From a speaker, stop, I need to talk to you, All Might, and the rest of the teachers, said the director in a rather serious tone. All Might. Wow, I wish we could have finished our battle, he said with a slight smile. Izuku. I think the same, and don't worry, your secret is safe with me, he said, showing his typical smile. After that, they both went their separate ways. Teacher's lounge. Midnight. Director, what happens? She said curiously. Nezu. What happens is that the school was invited to an event organized to raise funds, he said a little calmly. Aizawa. And what is the event about? He said a little tired. Nezu. They are clashes between first-year students, he said to the surprise of the teachers. Cementos. So it will be like our sports festival, but it will only be fights, he said doubtfully. Nezu. That's right, and the whole school will be taken to the event, he said a little cheerfully. All Might. But which schools are invited? And I don't think this news was important to stop the exams, he said seriously. Nezu. You're right, the real reason is that the school that loses the most times will have to close, he said, lowering his head, leaving everyone in shock. Midnight. Close, they are crazy, we must reject that invitation, said the hysterical woman. Nezu. It's not possible, the event organizer is the sponsor of all the schools, so we can't refuse, he said seriously and a little discouraged. All Might. It all comes down to trusting our beginner students, so to speak, he said a little calmly. Nezu. That's right, he said, putting his hands to his chin. Aizawa. Then we have a big advantage, he said, showing one of his typical disturbing smiles. Cementos. Do you really believe it? He said, looking at the black-haired man. Aizawa. My class has already gone through a villain attack, we just have to prepare Class B, he said, looking at Vlad King. Vlad. I think you're right, he said, crossing his arms. Nezu. Okay, gather the two classes in the auditorium. There we will give you the information about the event, and I will tell you which are the other schools, he said, recovering his spirits. Auditorium. The two groups were already in their seats, with their typical provocations between them. Now only the director was missing, and he didn't take long to arrive. Nezu. Hello guys, I'm glad that both groups are here without any absences, and that's because in a few days a big event will be held where several schools will participate with you to achieve supremacy, he said, smiling, causing everyone to smile and be amazed. Izuku. Seriously, competing with other academies is great, he said very excitedly. Jack. This is what it's like to meet other prospective heroes with different abilities, he said with a calm smile. Nezu. The event is called WrestleMania, said, showing the logo. Nezu. This event will take place in the USA at the MetLife Stadium in New York, he said with more emotion, showing the stadium. Nezu. The moment of truth, these are the schools we will face first. The host, North Heroes School NHS. Nezu. Oceania's Next Heroes Scout Academy HSA. Nezu. And from Europe, the Europa Heroes Academia EHA. After saying that, Jack shuddered so much that Izuku didn't notice. Izuku. Jack, are you okay? He said, a little worried. Jack. Yes, I'm fine, nothing happens, he said, a little nervous. Izuku. Well, if you say so, he said, unsure of his friend's answer. Nezu. Well, I also have to inform you that the worst school at the event will end up closing, he said seriously, but this left the students in shock. Everyone. If we lose they will close the UA, they said palely. Nezu. That's right, and in order to prepare them, they will receive special training from the professional heroines, the Pussycats, he said, raising the boys' spirits again. 3 hours later, all the students left the school, some with excitement due to the event, but we will focus on Class A, who left altogether except for one, Jack, who they found talking with Izawa and the rest of the teachers. Nezu. Young Beezarius, you are one of the best students. I cannot understand why you do not want to take the trip, said the director seriously, to the surprise of the entire class. Izuku. Jack, why don't you want to go on the trip, he said, surprised and scaring Jack. Jack. Izuku said in shock. Shuka. Wow, you're one of the 2 best in the class and in such an important event where if we lose they'll close the school and you turn your back on the school, said the bicolor, disappointed with the black-haired girl. Jack. You don't know anything, he said, running from the place. City Park. The black-haired man ran to the place where he stood in front of a tree and began hitting it. Jack's mind. You're just a loser who can only use little lights that you're going to make light up the night, ha 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 ha. Do you really think I would go out with a loser like you? That's a good joke. I don't think you're the son of the #1 hero here. I think you were adopted. You'll never be able to be a hero like us. Out of your mind, Jack. Jack. I'll be sniff a great hero, sniff, you'll see, he said, hitting harder and harder while crying and his fists bled. What he didn't realize was that an orange-haired girl from Class B was watching him from afar. Kendo. Jack. A couple of days since the news of the big event, and during those days Jack had become lonely since the inept Mineta told those of Class B what Jack had done, and most were outraged and upset by the cowardly attitude of the black-haired man, but today was a special day since the training would begin and would be taught by the Pussycats. Kirishima. Guys, aren't you excited? We'll meet the Pussycats, said the tough guy cheerfully. Lita. I must admit that it is a privilege to be trained by great heroes like them, said the four-eyed man with his typical movements. Izawa. Okay, young people, I want you to go out to the training field with your sports uniforms and wait for instructions. Young Beezarius, you can leave, he said while all the boys left in the direction of the field except the black-haired boy who was heading to the exit but was stopped by a green-haired boy. Izuku. Jack, now tell me what the hell is wrong with you, said the green-haired man seriously. Jack. I don't know what you're talking about, said the black-haired man, lowering his head. Izuku. Enough, you think I'm an idiot since the presentation of the event you behave differently, you don't want to go on the trip, what's happening? I thought we were best friends, said this sad for his friend. Jack. Of course we're best friends, he said, upset. Izuku. Then why don't you tell me what's wrong with you? He said with annoyance. Jack. I'm afraid. Okay, I'm afraid, he said very sadly. Izuku. Huh, Jack, what are you afraid of? He said, surprised to hear his friend's reasons. Jack. Wow, when I went to Europe I enrolled in a school that is related to the EHA, and if you excel they send you directly to that school, and because of my desire to return to Japan I decided to limit myself in my actions, and thanks to that I earned the mockery of my classmates. Even a girl that I liked rejected me and humiliated me without importance, and you know the best of all, the majority including her are studying at EHA, he said, starting to cry and clench his fists with great fury. Izuku. Huh, Jack, I had no idea, he said in complete shock. Jack. Don't worry, go with the others and make this school proud, he said, wiping his tears and leaving the place, leaving Izuku alone. Izuku decided to go to the field without realizing that all his classmates and those from Class B had heard the conversation, making everyone feel bad for knowing the reason why Jack did not want to go to the event. Already at the training camp, all the students from both classes were on the field with their teachers. Vlad. Well, we're all here. You must be ready because this training will take you to your limit, he said quite seriously. Izawa. I just hope that in this confrontation there is no death, he said with a grim smile. At that moment, out of nowhere, 4 people, 3 girls and a man wearing cat suits. Hi guys, how are you, said a blonde girl. I hope you are ready because this training will help you improve your skills and above all save the UA, said a brunette girl. Yes, you can be the best, so give your best effort, yes, said a green-haired girl. I think everything has been said, so let's start with the training, said the one who looked like a man. Students. 33. So everyone began to do different training activities to strengthen their quirk. Tokiyami was locked in a dark place to control shadow. Todoroki was inside a drum of water to control his two quirks. Izuku was fighting against the pussycats who looked like a man with his different attacks and the others with the same training as in the anime, with the difference that everyone including Class B were giving the best of each one. Jack's house. The black-haired man locked himself in his room as soon as he arrived, since he hadn't wanted to talk to anyone these last few days. Merlin. Son, your dad wanted you to help him with some things in the backyard, and if you could go now, said the purple-haired girl warmly. Jack. Okay Mom, I'm going, he said with heaviness in his voice. At that moment the black-haired man went to the backyard without noticing that his mother was no longer at the door, and when he arrived he didn't see anyone and everything was quiet. Jack. Dad, where are you? The boy spoke in a sad tone of voice. Escanor. Here we are, son, said the man behind the boy. Jack. Why do you need me? He didn't continue because he saw a group of people he knew. Oh look how much you've grown, said a brunette girl. Yes, and I hope the trip was not for nothing, said a boy with a float. Don't bother him, said a blonde loli. Even so, what you told us Merlin is true. Mentally he is hurt, said a pink-haired boy. Meliodas. Sad, I can't believe you're like this, said the blonde with doubts. Elizabeth. Meliodas, we came to help, said the silver-haired girl. I can't believe that the boy who had big dreams is behaving like a coward, said a silver-haired man with a bandit look. Jack. The 7 deadly sins. Jack. Ah! Screamed the black-haired man who was being whipped on the ground by a silver-haired man who used a triple bar. Ban. Come on Jack, where's that warrior spirit you used to have? The man said mockingly. Ban the fox of greed quirk. Immortality Jack. Mew. Very funny Uncle Ban, but I'm not finished, he said standing up. King. Really, then launch Chastiful 4th Form 4 Sunflower, said the floating boy who after his order his spear became a giant sunflower that emanated a powerful ray towards the black-haired boy. King the Sloth Bear Quirk. Fairy King Jack. Ma. Damn, could you let me rest for 5 minutes? Said the boy who had escaped the attack and was now on the ground. Escanor. Really, tell me, have you already decided whether to go on the trip or not? Said the pride looking at his son. Jack. I don't know, he said, lowering his head. Diane. I see that after all these days of training you still don't understand, right? She said, hitting it with her hammer. Diane Snake of Envy Quirk. Terra Control plus Gigantomachy asterisk. Gauther. She's right, what you're doing is cowardly, said the pink-haired man, shooting an arrow with a bow. Gauther Goat of Lust Quirk. Telechi Magic asterisk Jack. You don't know what it's like to be in my position, he said, barely getting up. Meliodas. No, we don't know, but we want you to stop that cowardly attitude. Haven't you thought about how it makes your friends and classmates feel? And what about that Izuku? Will you turn your back on your school and everyone who supports you? He said seriously, looking at the black-haired man. Jack. But I don't know how to react when I have them in front of me and if I have to face one of them, he said with a little fear. Izuku. Show them the true power of the son of 2 deadly sins, said the green-haired man surprised to Jack. Jack. Hello Izuku. How's everything going over there? He said smiling. Izuku. Well, today and the rest of the days before leaving we are going to rest since they almost killed us with that training, he said with a drop of sweat on his neck, remembering the suffering caused by the pussycats. Jack. Huh, tell me about it. At least you had 4 people training for 39 students, but I had 7 teachers torturing me every day after school, he said with annoyance and horror. Merlin. Well, what is your decision, son? Will you go or not? He said calmly. Jack. I'll have to talk to the director and Professor Aizawa to be able to go, he said smiling while everyone was happy because the black-haired man finally understood what he was doing wrong. The next day. Aizawa. So if you want to go on the trip, said the black-haired man doubtfully looking at Jack. Jack. That's right, but I know I acted like a coward and I recognize that I don't deserve to ask them to go on the trip, and if I don't have permission to go, I accept it, said the black-haired man sincerely. Aizawa. Well, what you did wasn't the best, and you didn't go through the pussycats training, But that doesn't mean you didn't go through hell since I knew about your training with the 7 deadly sins, he said with a smile. Nezu. Well, since the situation is so critical that I can't refuse your request to go, so you should be prepared, said the director seriously. Travel day. Izuku. Professor, only the 2 groups will leave, he said curiously. Aizawa. That's right, Midoriya. The hero groups will leave today and in 3 days the rest will leave along with the parents who want to attend, said the man getting on the plane with his group and behind him Professor Vlad with his students. Jack. Off here we go, said the black-haired man a little nervous. Momo. Jack, don't worry, we'll all support you, said the girl showing a big smile that relieved the black-haired boy a little while other boys in the group nodded, including Izuku and surprisingly Todoroki. Thus they left the eastern country for the great American nation. Already in the USA Izuku. Guys, look, it's the Statue of Liberty, he said as the plane began to descend. So all the boys looked at the city of New York with fascination. Vlad. Hey everyone, pay attention and listen, said the blood controller. Aizawa. These days before the arrival of the rest of their classmates they will be able to see the stadium where the event will take place and will have the opportunity to interact with the rest of the schools, said the man while everyone nodded and Jack got a little nervous. So the plane landed and as soon as they got off they boarded a bus that departed for a large building. Jack. Wow, it looks like who's organizing this event, he doesn't beat around the bush, look at that building, you wouldn't believe it, he said while everyone was amazed to see the luxurious building. Izuku. Don't ask, just enjoy it, he said while walking to the building. So everyone entered the place surprised by how beautiful it was but they quickly caught the eyes of most of those present. Hi, you must be the UA right? Said a girl enthusiastically. Izuku. That's right, and you are? He said a little confused. Oh, excuse my manners, I'm Ryuko Mario and I belong to the NHS and these are my colleagues, said the black-haired girl sympathetically and pointing to the place where her friends were. Uraraka. Nice to meet you, she said happily. Wow, the Japanese school is here, said a boy with amusement. Momo. You must be from another school, it's not towards, said the black-haired girl looking at the boy. That's right doll, I'm Ise Hyodo and I belong to the HSA along with them, he said with emotion. Jack. Both schools look pretty strong, he said a little interested. But look who's here, loser Jack Bezarius, said a boy mockingly followed by a group of people. Jack. Basara is still there Jack. Basara Taju, the black-haired boy would say with annoyance looking at a brown-haired boy with green eyes. Basara. Oh what's up loser, don't miss his tase, he said mockingly while his companions tried not to laugh. Izuku. So you are Jack's former classmates, he said a little annoyed like the rest of the UA. Basara. Yes and you are, he said without much importance. Izuku. Izuku Midoriya Jack's best friend, he said defiantly. Basara. Ha ha ha. You really are this loser's best friend ha 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 I can't imagine the pathetic level of his school, said the brown-haired boy, dying of laughter. Izuku and the others clenched their fists in anger at seeing how the brown-haired boy and his friends made fun of them, but no one saw that Jack took off his glasses. Jack. Why don't you go look for your mother? I forgot, I'll abandon you, he said with great arrogance, silencing the laughter of the Europeans and calming his friends. Basara. What did you say, unhappy? He said angrily. Jack. Oh the baby gets angry because he never met mommy, he said mockingly and without lowering his arrogance, and Izuku and the others held back their laughter. Basara. Look, idiot, calm down or you won't live to tell this trash, he said trying to calm his anger. Jack. You know, say what you want about me, but that doesn't take away the fact that my mother is proud of me and yours abandoned you because you weren't what she wanted, he said simply. Everyone from Eha. OHHHHHHHHHHHHH. It was the only thing they could do. The chestnut was about to attack but a voice stopped them. Oh I see that the 4 schools are here, said a man about 50 years old but with white hair. All. Yes? Perfect, let me introduce myself, my name is Vince Kennedy McMahon, the man said politely. Everyone. Nice to meet you, Mr. McMahon, they all said politely. Vince. Hello everyone, here I would like to inform you that tonight in the auditorium of the building we will explain the rules of the event in addition to assigning the fights. It is also worth noting that not all students will fight, only the highest ranked from their schools. Well, see you tonight, he said, leaving the room. Aizawa. Hello guys, it's time to go to our floor since each school will have a floor for them and that floor has a room where after leaving your things we will see each other in 20 minutes, so let's walk, said the serious black-haired man walking followed by everyone. 20 minutes later, the members of the UA were gathered around their teachers. Aizawa. Well, no one is missing and that pleases me. Now I have gathered you here to see what you think about the other schools in this first meeting, he said seriously. Shuka. Well, most of them look strong, but the European school seems to be quite boastful, said half and half calmly. Lida. That's right, but they all seem to follow a single leader and it was that brown-haired boy, said the blue-haired boy making his typical movements. Izuku. But they were the ones that drew the most attention since I could see that the other two schools looked at Europe with disgust, said the thoughtful green-haired boy. Jack. That's because the EHA always boasts of being the best superhero school in the world, said the black-haired man adjusting his glasses. Vlad. Well, you're right, but we shouldn't let our guard down with any school, and tell me what you think about what Mr. Vince said that not everyone will fight, said the white-haired man. Kendo. Well, that lowers the pressure of most of us but increases it for those who are going to fight, said the orange-haired woman doubtfully while everyone nodded. Meanwhile, on another floor, we see a brunette girl deep in thought. Lilith. Tifa, are you okay? I notice you're quite strange, said the pink-haired woman worried. Tifa. I'm sorry Lilith, I just can't believe I'd see Jack again, she said dejectedly. Lilith. Well, he was the boy you rejected in high school but now you were one of Basara's girls, she said trying to cheer up her friend. Tifa. Yes, but he only sees us as an object and Jack, the time we were friends, treated me with affection and made me feel special, she said sadly, remembering that she rejected the black-haired man so that she wouldn't be criticized by others and joined Basara to be more accepted. Lilith. I'm sorry friend, I didn't know, said the girl with sadness in her voice. 5 hours later, all the students with their two teachers were in the auditorium ready for the moment of truth. Vince. I'm glad everyone is gathered here to learn the details about the event that will have several rules, the man said calmly. Rules. 1. Promo. Days before the event, a press conference will be held where the opponents of the fights will be face-to-face. 1. Entrance. Participants will have to plan an entrance with lights and fireworks, as there will be a stage set up at audience height and a ramp descending to the battlefield. 2. Music. Each participant will enter with their own musical theme created by them and will receive help from professional music professionals. 3. Combats. The best students will be in different fights, whether 1 vs 1, 2 vs 2 or 3 vs 3. 4. Victory. Participants may only win by surrender or count of 3. 5. Prize. The winners of the matches will receive a championship belt depending on the fight they are involved in. Vince. Those would be all the rules of the event. Now the moment of truth has arrived to know who their opponents will be. First we have the International Championship. For this championship it will be a fatal 4 where the following will fight. NHS. Kirito vs. HSA. Kiba vs. EHA. Yahiro vs. U.A. Lida. Men's Tag Team Championship. This fight will be a 2 vs 2 fight. HSA. Valley Y Isei vs UA. Tetsu Y Kirishima. Women's Tag Team Championship. Here will be a triple threat in pairs where there will be EHA. Tifa and Lilith vs NHS. Akeno and Kusakabe vs UA. Momo and Kido. Cruiser Championship. It will be a 1 vs 1 where they will fight NHS. Gray vs HSA. Takahisa Women's Championship. This will be a fatal 4 where they will fight HSA. Rias vs UA. Shuka vs NHS. Satsuki vs EHA. Mio. Campeonato de la World Wrestling Entertainment. It will be a 1 vs 1 where they will fight EHA. Arata Kasuga vs UA. Izuku Midoriya. And finally we have L World Heavyweight Championship where they will face each other 1 vs 1 and the participants will be EHA. Basara Toujours U.A. Jack Bezarius. Jack. This can't be. Jack. This has to be a joke, right? He said while he saw that his opponent was going to be Basara. Con day for Basara. Ha ha ha, I got that loser, victory is assured, he said with a big smile. Mine. That's right, love, that useless person will never be your opponent, said the pink-haired girl mockingly while the girls nodded, saving Tifa. Vince. Well, in 3 days the press conference will be over where the promos will be given until then, said the man leaving the place. Aizawa. Well, now that we know who is going to participate, let's go to our floor and I want you to start formulating your song and your promo plus the promo since time is short, so let's go, said the black-haired man seriously as he began to walk. Izuku. Jack, are you okay? He said while looking at his friend. Jack. Yes, I'm fine, don't worry, said the black-haired man with a forced smile. Izuku. Don't lie to me, something bothers you, he said seriously. Jack. Well, it just makes me a little nervous knowing that I'm going to face him, he said sincerely. Izuku. Oh come on, you know you can defeat him, so take that face off and smile. You won't teach them a lesson every day, said the green-haired boy cheerfully. Jack. I think you're right. So the days passed, during which the school was able to get to know the city and all its beauties. Parents of everyone, as well as special people and the rest of the teachers and students, also arrived. Face-to-face day. Everyone was at Madison Square Garden where a stage had been set up with 2 platforms and in the middle a table where the belt was put into play, and there was a large number of people including family members, students, teachers, reporters and fans, since this event was baptized as the Showcase of the Immortals and it was bet that it would be the biggest event of the decade. Vince. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the pre-WrestleMania face-off, he said as the crowd cheered loudly. This is how the promos began, where the majority said that their school was better and that they would prove it. Assistant. Mr. Vince, something is wrong, said the man when he saw his boss looking strange. Vince. Well, it's not what I expected, I wanted it to feel personal, a real face-to-face, he said a little disappointed. Announcer. Next to go will be Izuku Midoriya and Urata Kasuga. So they both came forward. Urata. I don't have much to say since I will win and I am leaving because this has me full of balls, he said, surprising everyone with his attitude except those of the Eha who applauded him. Izuku. Okay, why is he retiring from the game? Because this has his balls full. Let's go again. Why don't you say that you're retiring because it's hard for you to accept being less, said the green-haired boy, leaving everyone speechless with his answer. Urata. What did you say? He said, returning to the temple. Izuku. What you heard makes it hard for you to admit that you are less than me, and at WrestleMania that title will end up on my waist, he said, leaving the platform, leaving the European furious. Vince. See, that's what I wanted, aggressiveness, bad words, said the happy man. Announcer. This be you. Well, let's give way to the last face-to-face, Jack Bezarius and Basara to Zhu, said the man while the brown-haired man, but there was no trace of the black-haired man. In the stands. Merlin. Where's Jack? She said, confused. Escanor. I don't know, he said the same thing as her. Announcer. It was requested. Could not finish because Basara, who was already on the stage, spoke. Basara. I want you to hear me loud and clear, he is a loser who will not come. Look, I am the future of heroes and I am here to claim that title, he said seriously while his girls saved They cheered him and those of the UA were furious. Listen to me, I didn't come here because he wanted me to or they'll force me to come. I came because you're screwing these people with all your chatter, and you won't be a true hero until you defeat me, and you know it, I know it, and most importantly, they know it, said Jack, who appeared among the audience, surprising everyone, and went up to the stage. Basara. This no longer has to do with the title, it has to do with me, since all this guy wants is to be like me, he said mockingly. Jack. I don't believe it, you always take the easy way out and I have had countless years of work to get where I am, my blood, my sweat and my tears, he said equally seriously. Basara. Look, I sat at the top of Eha while you wasted your time in the minor leagues, friend, he said mockingly, pointing at those from UA. Jack. That's not true and you'll see it because I'm the most dangerous, most intense and most stubborn guy you'll ever face. Now you're scared, he said seriously, leaving the temple and facing the brown-haired man directly. Basara, you're the one who should be scared to death, he said, imitating the black-haired man's action. I am Basara Tuju, the champion of champions, and I guarantee that this will be the end for you and everyone will be able to see it. I will finish you at WrestleMania when I turn your bones into dust, he said, forcefully trying to intimidate the black-haired man. Jack, I will beat you on the field in front of everyone, and when I'm done with you I will take this title and go celebrate with my friends and the people who support me, and I will raise it as high as possible and say, do you know WHOIAM? I am the World Heavyweight Champion. The phenomenal Jack Bezarius, he said, facing the brunette before dropping the microphone and leaving the stage. Vince. That was amazing. Location: Empire State. At the top of the tallest building in America, 3 strange silhouettes could be seen. So here is Jack, isn't he? Said one of them. Hee, it's true, we'll see each other soon, answered the one who was between the other two. And finally we will get revenge for what he did to us, ha 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 ha. We are 1 day away from the big event and Mr. McMahon has decided to host a dinner with all the schools. Jack, tomorrow is the big day, I mustn't hesitate. The boy couldn't continue with his thoughts because he collided with someone. Oh wow, but it's the young Bezarius, it's been a while, said a black-haired woman with green eyes looking at Jack. Jack, Chisato-sensei, said the boy looking at the woman seriously and coldly. Chisato. Wow, that tone, Jack, said the woman calmly but with a pain in her chest. Jack, does my tone of voice bother you? The boy said with displeasure. Chisato. Hey, if it's because I work as a teacher at EHA, it was because, she didn't continue because the black-haired man interrupted her. Jack, that has nothing to do with it, what matters is that you and all the other teachers treated me like garbage, he said with oak, leaving the place and going to where the dinner was. Chisato. That's not true, I didn't want to treat you like that because I love you, said the woman, super sad, looking at the black-haired man from afar. Already in the dining room. Vince. I welcome you to this dinner and I hope you enjoy it, he said from the center table. So the dinner went on normally, everyone was talking and enjoying themselves until an idiot caught everyone's attention. Basara. Please listen, I would like to make a challenge, he said while everyone looked at him confused. Vince. What kind of challenge, he said curiously. Basara. Well, since I will be in the main event I challenge Jack Bezarius. Whoever loses will have to close his school, he said, leaving everyone in shock. Vince. But that was already there, the one with the least victories would have to close his school, he said, coming out of shock. What are you saying, Nezu? Don't you trust yourself much? Said an albino man with a confident smile who looked like the director of the EHA. At that moment all eyes turned to the director of the UA. Nezu. It's okay, we accept, he said, a little nervous. Basara. Sorry, can't you hear us? He said mockingly. Jack. We accept, he said seriously and loudly. Chisato. You are still an idiot, the woman thought as she remembered something. Flashback. A few months ago. Chisato. Wow, there's nothing good on TV, said the woman watching TV until something caught her attention. Present mic. We are at the final of the sports festival between Izuku Midoriya versus Jack Bezarius. Chisato. It can't be, that's Jack, said the woman in shock looking at her former student on TV. After watching the whole battle. Chisato. No, I can't believe it. Jack is incredible because he didn't show that power at school, she said, totally incredulous at what she had just seen. Fin flashback. Chisato. If Jack doesn't restrain himself he might kill Basara. The woman thought. The next day. We are 20 minutes away from the start of the big event. Nezu. Guys, I know it's a shocking moment and it can make you nervous, but go out and give your best, said the director trying to encourage his boys. Jack. You don't have to be nervous, go out and fight and show how great the UA is and leave all the responsibility to me, he said calmly with a smile. At that moment several people entered, surprising those who were going to fight. Lida. Tensei-ni-sama, said the boy seeing his brother in a wheelchair. Tensai. Hello little brother, are you ready? He said with a smile. Elsewhere Shuka. What are you doing here father, said the bicolor seriously. Endeavor. Hey, calm down, We came to support you, he said calmly. Shuka. Who came? She said confused. Yes, we are little one, said a white-haired woman. Shuka. Ma. Mom. So all the participants spoke with their parents and relatives, including Izuku and Jack, then their companions said goodbye before starting. Already at the event. Announcer, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WrestleMania. Welcome everyone, I'm Carlos Cabrera and my partner Marcelo Rodriguez, we're at WrestleMania, the man said with emotion. Marcelo. That's right, Carlos. Greetings to all our viewers around the world. We're kicking off this event with a few words from the number one hero and symbol of peace, All Might. Thus entered the blonde receiving a great ovation from the stadium. All Might. Hello everyone. How are you, New York? Today we are at the most important moment in history where we will see the future of heroism face off to reach the top in this great event WrestleMania, he said, making the crowd explode with excitement. Announcer. The opening match will be the fight for the Intercontinental Championship, he said with emotion. Lita. My time has come. To be continued. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and now we will see you in the next video.